Could be good.
Estamos vivo. Are we live?
Yeah, there we are.
Buenas tardes. Estamos vivo aquí, mirando en la oficina general de 718 TV. Usted está mirando twitch.tv/Manaxis. Gracias por tu presencia aquí hoy tarde y hoy noche. So first and foremost, what up, John Woo? Oh, snap. Nah, it's Hexen 1. I don't give a shit at this point. I've got things to discuss, alright?
But talk about Hexen?
So, Dare, Lion, gracias por tu presencia aquí hoy noche.
Where do you go?
Big ups from Boys Chat. Now, AFDH, hey, like Fat Albert. Alright, now we have to discuss a few things very briefly before we move forward.
Briefly?
all-
I mean, I don't know about briefly.
Oh, no. A man called Jack, thank you for doing your part.
Oh, that. Yes, that.
Vincent Vader, thank you for doing your part. Skullgar Thane, thank you for doing your part. That's a pretty hardcore badass orc fighter with a couple of levels in Barbarian kind of name to me.
See, here's the thing, though, Haynes. Now, I know we have things to talk about, and I appreciate you going through the list before I got here. But now you got this thing in the background. And I don't know where you guys find this stuff, because I don't do these things. And now I want to watch the Hexen run.
Oh, so okay, so for any of the ladies and jerks that are watching at home that don't know what Hexen is, basically
Also, what the hell was this titled?
we're-
Memes, arcades, cops, and mental health.
Yes.
Okay, I want to confirm what we're setting ourselves up for here.
Oh, this is just for the sake of utilizing what cameraman had so graciously set up once he returned from his sojourn. I'd like to believe that he probably had front row seats to some sort of Central American, Guatemalan, Indio Dwarf Fighting League.
He said what he was doing, but then when we asked him if he took pictures, he made the excuse of, no, I left the camera here.
Yeah, well,
Which is fair.
if that wouldn't have happened, none of this would have happened.
Yeah, but he could probably buy his own camera with whatever he's been doing. I'm just saying.
So does that mean he can only use that camera?
I don't fucking know.
Listen, we're gonna have to figure this out later.
Why the hell would I know how he operates? I
So-
don't know his deal.
So John Woo, yes, big ups to John Woo and all of the hoods out there, because lest it be known, all right, and this is some serious talk, without a hint of irony or insincerity here. The hood is kind of like a parallel institution. It's like a parallel society that platonically coexists alongside American society, really. Now, granted, no two hoods are 100% alike. But it is Americana in the sense of it has its own customs, languages, dress code. It is an entirely separate strata that is seemingly and often ambivalent, on an ambivalent sort of level, out of sight, out of mind.
Like hoods?
Yes.
I mean, I guess, unless you're I don't want we live in a hood.
Mm.
This isn't the nicest,
Well,
part of-
one person's hood is another person's YMCA.
Yeah, so, but then there's you and I both know, you walk far along 21st long enough and make a right, there's another hood, and you keep going, there's another hood.
It should be noted that if you just take a 10 to 15 minute bus ride, you're where Nas is from.
Really?
Yeah.
Didn't know that. I don't know where Nas is from, so. Not relevant to me.
Nas is amongst one of Queen's finest, although I will leave John Woo to hold court in the hip-hop domain, because I can discuss hip-hop, but I am only really fond of and knowledgeable of 11 groups and or solo artists.
That's fair.
So, if you want the Mr. Bungle discussion, you could just hit me with that. And if you want the Residents discussion or the Daft Punk discussion, you hit Monoxis for that.
Kind of. I know a little bit about both.
Is it cold in the deep?
It's so cold in the deep.
Kool-Aider, how have you been, homie? So John Woo continues to hold it down. And it should be noted, though, one of my favorite pieces of hip hop in the world is the Wu-Tang Clan's very first album, because it sounds like it was recorded in somebody's closet in the basement with just fucking egg cartons, like to prevent like sound reverb,
Sure.
because it has like near zero production quality value, but the bare bone beats were really good.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
were like really really good, and of course like referencing martial arts films, and every time someone went up to the mic, it was out the park. But like every person, every track, over and over and over again.
Oh yeah,
It's
that's what they do.
it's a really good. Oh, and if and when we have the gravel pit discussion, John Woo is gonna have to like officially hold court. Let the record state. So, all that aside, one of the things we here at 718 TV want to discuss live on twitch.tv/Monoxus. Eventually, we are going to be making our way to arcades,
Oh, that's the thing
memes,
I want to do.
cops,
You just
and
keep
mental health. All right. You see,
talking. Oh, don't fall.
an
Don't fall,
exclamation point went up over his head. Well, what exactly happened?
don't fall. Oh no, just because of like you mentioned, our stream name never really has the 718 TV thing in it, which I think we should put that in there.
Touche.
Yeah, I think it makes sense to have it.
Vámonos, muchachos. Conjuntos. Vámonos.
Better. That looks better.
So you let us know, ladies and jerks, because courtesy of the eyes and ears of you.
Oh well, all I did was slap on 718 TV after the words mean things.
Mm.
So at the very least, you know who we are.
Well, I mean, I don't want to say it goes without saying.
You never know who's popping in. We have some of our
A of the
our
H. I am
regulars
drinking
and-
coffee. I hope you can see the steam rise up, or the drop that hit the table.
Yeah,
Either way,
I think Haynes and I both decided to abstain from some alcohol today. As some of you may know, yesterday was Hitler's birthday and we were celebrating. I'm joking. That'll get us in a lot of trouble. It was 420, which, I mean, I'm sure you know that we have no problem with the devil's lettuce, so we both had things to do. We both drank enough yesterday, so we're like, you know what? No boozing today, I think.
although I would like to point out that it was situational in the sense of where like I usually don't go out of my way to. I'm going to sit down and drink this. It has to be a rare occasion if it's outside of like having like wine with a meal. But like if I'm going to be in the proximity of people who do enjoy drinking, then holy shit, we're going to get the thing better than the grocery store.
My
And
homie
crap
got
on that.
my homie got a new apartment, and then he had a kitten, which I'm gonna post a picture on Twitter. If you're interested in seeing the kitten, you can go over to Twitter right now, because I played with a kitten and got drunk on whiskey the entire time, while they smoked a ton because I'm not much of a smoker myself. But,
Monoxus probably reminds me of if you've ever
look at
seen
this little bastard.
that son of a
He's so fucking cute.
in Charlie Wilson's War, and where even when offered by like other people, Charlie Wilson is always like, oh no thanks. But no, you see, Drink and Pet. It is the ultimate pet simulator. You would sell zillions, like you just make it for Game Boy Advance. Have like a retro revival against everyone's will.
Hello, Loxy Face, and hello, Mr. Mystic Shorts. Thanks for popping in. But yeah, that's what I did with my 420. Got drunk. Went to Dallas Barbecue, which sucked. I mean, like, it's as good as Dallas Barbecue gets.
Well, I mean, in New York City.
But like,
Did you go to BBQ? Is that where you went?
yeah, Dallas Barbecue.
Ah,
But
BBQ.
It's a chain barbecue restaurant, so everything's mediocre. And the people I was with all got those giant slushy alcohols.
Yeah.
And all of them kind of felt sick afterwards. And I was like, yeah, because it's fucking like 90% sugar, and then they just pour rum into it. It's not like I was whiskey all day.
I've always wanted to go to a place and get that drink that you see in like Wayne's World, like the gigantic like fruit bowl with the blue liquid, and it's
Like a fishbowl kind of thing.
right.
Some places do the crazy ones, but most places do little tiny fish bowls.
Loxy Face and Mr. Mystic Shorts, gracias por tu presencia aquí hoy noche.
And fuck up the thing, right?
Estamos vivo aquí en twitch.tv/Monoxus. You heard it here first, folks.
Science. Let's get back on to our topics. I think that's the thing we should be leaning into a little bit. Personally, I think the easiest one to go over right now would be
Cops.
the cops.
All right. So just because
It'll just get the bad one out of the way.
because we don't want to be like cartwheeling up hills like with angels' wings and high-fiving, like, saints and biblical figures, and then the last 20 minutes it's like, all right, so let's talk about how, like, a cop did his job, and this guy's gonna get thrown under the bus. This guy, you know what, like, oh, this poor guy.
And this is the
Right?
the new one, right? The knife one.
Right now, this is currently the worst wrong place, wrong time thing that, that we know of, that we've so graciously gotten from this avalanche. It's not even battering rams anymore, of just 24/7 of this.
Yeah, well, I mean, every time a cop fucking sneezes wrong now, the news reports on it.
Which is honestly part of the double-edged sword of living here in the United States, because you could go anywhere else and you'll be safe, but you won't be free. On the other hand, things like this happened. Like, so this is the worst wrong place, wrong time, because it wasn't like a person who was about to have their life ending, or the perpetrator. It's the person that stopped this from happening is now the worst thing in the history of anything ever. And I'm not going to get into the obscene and ugly things people had tweeted. There's only one exception, which, like, this is
what I was going to say. I'm assuming there's video footage. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm assuming the guy was cammed up, and that's how he got it, or there's phone footage somewhere, right?
There's both.
Okay, so there's both. I haven't seen either one.
Officer Hans Moll. Oh dear.
So I haven't seen either one. All I saw was
Mr. Mystic Shorts.
I think I woke up and there were memes of it, which, like, just to on topic, like, all I've seen were the memes that were being posted about it, and people's Instagram posts either for or against what happened, and I was very confused.
Because
but if I have it
you've left it into the public, like, hands now.
Oh, well, I don't care what other people think. I think, like, the context is what matters most. And
yes, he responsibly, Monoxis is personally responsible for the internet just getting it into their hands. That,
I did it. I leaked the information.
Yeah,
I put the footage out there. I filmed it.
You know what? Like, because whenever people film things and put them up on the internet, the cameraman never gets credit. So for the first time, let it be known that what happened, where, like, a man is gonna be, like, lamppost and roped because he did his job, and it's the worst wrong place, wrong time. There's Edward Snowden, all right, and then there's Julian Assange, and then there's Monoxis.
By the way, you saw the video, right?
Yeah. Thank you for the video, by the way.
No problem. Anytime. I will always put videos up of horrible things happening, and I'll wait for YouTube to strike me.
You see what we've resorted to because cameraman was just off and about like a jerk.
I wish I could take credit for something that got that much hype. Jeez. But either way, just confirm for me. I want to confirm for myself, having only heard, and then maybe, God knows, someone in chat's like, what the fuck are these guys talking about? I don't know how, considering everyone is just like, look.
Right.
And two ladies were fighting. Teenagers, yeah?
Yeah.
Fighting, like actually fighting. And then one pulled a knife. And there was a cop within, like...
Someone called 911, and I don't...
on the fight.
And I don't know if it was the person who pulled... Like, I don't know if the person who had the knife was the one who called 911, but someone called 911, maybe someone involved in the fight itself, I don't know.
So then cop pulls up.
Because, like, it wasn't just happenstance. Like, the officer was responding to a 911
call. And then he saw two people tussling, right? It wasn't like they were standing there, like fucking Michael Jackson knife fight style. Like, they were, like, backed off from each other.
No.
They were on each other, right?
They were, like, final fighting each other, where you just keep jabbing and you get a combo and then they fall down.
Because, like, if you see the video, it's all... Because, like I said, the context matters. Are there two people standing apart yelling at each other and one of them's got a knife? You probably shouldn't have shot that person. They weren't doing anything. But if they're, like... they're tussling and someone's holding the wrist and there's, like, the fucking knife. And it's like, oh, no, that person's going to stab that person. Like, all right, maybe you open fire. Although, did he aim for the head?
I don't exactly know where that...
Okay, so your knowledge of the video falls off.
No, because I have no... The fact that this man did his job, I don't know.
Aiming for the head's not his job. Aim for the head.
Did he aim for the head, ladies and jerks?
I don't know if Chad knows. I'm throwing things out.
I've like a David Blaine trick, I buried my head in the sand because I didn't want, like, even if he put, like, 3 bullets in her head and, like, 6 in her uterus, I wouldn't care about that. Because my head in the sand, David Blaine magic trick, wrong place, wrong time, he did his job. And as all this is happening, Chauvin got...
he got
charged, and that is not enough for some people. And you know what? It's going to be the summer of love all over again.
Well, it's just the goalpost being moved. But, I mean, you didn't see that coming?
Nah.
I saw it coming. Also, I can't wait for him to get out in 6 years and everyone to lose their shit.
This kind of set precedence, and where like Maxine Waters was states away from where this state happened, and it was just strange to see a politician that had nothing to do with the state of Minnesota weigh in on it, kind of sort of like letting the jury know, like, if this doesn't go the right way, like, fuck.
Think about that shit.
Then, among other things, ladies and jerks, however, in regards to discussing cops, I mean, I think one thing that often goes understated, as all this is happening, okay, cops have been resigning in large numbers.
Yeah.
Like, for the past few years, steadily.
Me and you broke John Woo. I'm talking about dead people as well.
You see, John Woo knows what's up. Like, not only is this occurring, there's also like a recruitment loss where like they're having a hard time. Like,
yeah, because why would you want to join right now?
Right. So then, Mr. Mystic Shorts goes, people should watch John Woo streams instead of this World Wars.
Yeah, I mean, he puts on a good positive stream.
Mr. Mystic Shorts.
You gave that man a sandwich.
Mr. Mystic Shorts. And on top of that, like, Mike in the back who was hungry gave him a sandwich, and he got that, the cup of coffee quest, remember?
Yeah.
Like, oh, that was such a whole, that was, man, you're not wrong, Mr. Mystic Shorts.
That man didn't serve, by the way. The ghost man, he didn't serve.
The Gary Johnson.
I'm just saying, that man didn't, I mean, I'm good on you for getting that guy a cup of coffee.
Oh, that was so, eating the fucking pizza in front of the gym, good on you, John Woo. That was a power move.
I'm glad someone else caught that shit.
Their line goes, shoot, I'd resign too. Yeah, see, there's what incentive does someone have outside of people who really want the job?
The incentive used to be like the money, the benefits,
retire in 20 years,
and the power.
Yeah,
depending on where you look at it from. And now, like, they're trying to strip all three of those things down with the whole, defunding.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think as far as the power structure goes, that does need to get like pulled down a little bit.
Yeah.
It's too much. They can do too much, and it's just like, let them get away with it. Like, no. I guess it depends on where you are, though. But we talked about, like, the old country for no men style. Like, sometimes the sheriff used to just show up to shit and be like, yo, here's the deal. You better not be here the next 10 minutes. Go home. Right? But now we have people who show up, and it's like, oh, no, they're fighting! And then, like, the guns, like, the holster was already open, and they're like, oh, well, people are throwing down.
Mm-hmm.
That's just too much.
Oh, well, now hang on. Darelion chimes in with, oh, wait, not Cool-Aiders, all. Dial up Don Shipley? You know it, homie. Darelion, I can buy a gun and have the power myself, but I probably couldn't pull the benefits for just being... It depends, though, because if the grid goes down, there are going to be self-policing societies, but there will be no arbitration in terms of how far you dial things left and right and when you get to stop things.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I'd like to think that, people like Dare would have a great spot, but it would require the grid going down.
Maybe.
All right.
I mean, it's not going to require the grid going down.
Everyone has to play Rust, and Dare is already like 40 levels ahead of people.
I mean, if people really push hard for defunding, and it goes through, which it probably won't, legal changes are very realistic. If you want to, like, talk about accountability, what they can and can't have, how their training goes, right. Like, those things are more reasonable. Taking a gun away is 10 times easier, and then being like completely defund the institutions.
But here, okay, so here's a radical idea that, like, I don't know, like, why people aren't behind such a thing, because clearly
I'm sure they are, but yeah.
All right, clearly there's something wrong with this picture. So that means so would you say we live in drastic times?
I don't want to say drastic times. I think it's a problem that's always been there. And now that people are trying to address it in a more aggressive way, because there's always been people trying to, like, there has been attention brought to this issue time and time again, depending on where you live.
Okay.
We're not totalitarian, secret police can go and put 2 in the back of your head. Thank you. And then, like, no one knows about it. We're not there yet, to our knowledge. But, like, we're not that bad. But there's a way more aggressive stance on no longer taking this shit.
Drink Duff. Responsibly.
So like, it's not.
Drink Duff.
I don't want to say drastic.
Responsibly. Oh, Kool-Aider.
It's just people are. It's that whole how long can you be sick and tired of being sick and tired idea. People are pushing back, and well, now we're getting a response.
Well, I mean,
it also helps that there was a quarantine to make sure that everyone had nothing better to do. Because I think I've mentioned this. Had there not been like a quarantine during all of this, a lot of people would have been at work and school and could give two fucks.
But herein lies the issue. Okay, back to Twitter. Herein lies the issue. The one thing on Twitter that I wanted to just briefly discuss is that you see, I don't know to what degree public figures can use the platforms that they have to convey and weigh in on things that they have no understanding or working knowledge of to a pro or a con sort of way.
Sure.
Like, that is a whole different argument. I'm not sure if there are any media studies majors here who could weigh in or chime in. And if you have something to say other than Marshall McLuhan's writings, chime in. I'd be curious. But now, we live, all right. Now, police reform, all right?
Yeah.
Whether you want to call it drastic times or not. Here's an idea. Here's a radical idea, all right? All right? Why not fucking fire everyone and then just hire new people? So, worst case scenario, we have the same results, all right? Which means there's something wrong with the architecture framework.
Yes.
Best case results, it's like, oh, like they're doing cop things, even though, of course, there's no 100%.
Like, you're not gonna have a 100% success rate in reforming it.
I mean, like,
there'll always be bad apples.
If this were
like,
if this were like an RPG, like, isn't that, or like if this were like a RTS game, like, wouldn't you have a different approach? Like,
it's
wouldn't
hard
you
to overhaul everything though? And I'm sure there are camps of people who've already mentioned that is part of the whole reform thing. I don't know if it's all firing, but like, I guarantee you, there's a camp for that. It's kind of how like I think I've mentioned to you. I don't know if Stream knows about this. I know people who had the whole like all cops are bastards mentality, and then I had to be like, yeah, but our homie's a cop and he's not a bad guy and we've known him for fucking like 15 years. And they had that like, oh yeah. And it's like, all right, so don't fucking like don't lean into the all cops thing. But I had mentioned like my first steps, if I had any say in the matter, disarming is more important. I'm not saying they should never have access to a firearm, but I don't know, maybe put the handguns and the shotgun in a locked trunk so that when they show up to an issue, it's not like, all right, check it. Like, if you see them checking the trunk, it's like they're going for the guns. Like, they're taking this shit seriously. You know what I mean?
Right.
Versus, like, are you just walking around? You don't need that shit.
Well, it depends where they are.
But, and so it's in the trunk. Oh, there's a guy robbing a bank and he's got a fucking machine gun and you're responding and you've got your pepper spray? No, go in the trunk and pull out the fucking gun.
Right.
But it shouldn't just be like on you.
But how far is he from his car?
But it shouldn't, like, you're responding, you should know the threat level. But it shouldn't just be like, ah, you know what I mean?
Oh, I'm not, well, here.
And there's an argument made against it. I'm just saying that would be my first step. And the second one would be like a committee of people who oversee the police that don't work for the police. That's kind of how the whole guy did a bad. And then it's like, all right, well, we got to check the footage and look it over and see if he did a bad. And then it's like, all right, who's looking it over? Like 6 other cops and like 3 ex-cops and the chief of police and the judge who works at the cops.
And the DA.
And then they go, I did nothing wrong. Like, no, that's got to stop. Because if he did a bad, all of the people who are already in his corner are the ones double checking his work. Mm-hmm. It's like cheating on the test and having your homie who you cheated off of scoring it.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
It's near foolproof, well, for the most part.
It's whatever, yeah, you're good. Because they don't...
Okay. Well, all right, so wait, Dareline chimes in with, having the handgun on the person is good when the guy they're walking up to has a gun, which they won't know until they walk up to him. Which, all right, so that in there lies a variable in this ordeal. They just...
Counter-argument, and not to, play too much of the devil's advocate here on that, why are you just walking up to people as a cop? Your job is to respond to things.
But how many cops are going to have to get shot, and then until they're like, we need guns?
No, again, I'm not saying don't give them guns.
In a place like, let's
say
like
in the case of just walking up on people, how many times have they decided, you look suspicious, and now I'm starting shit? That motherfucker shouldn't be armed. And if you're responding to something, someone called in and was like, yo, there's a dispute happening. the person may be armed. Well, guess what? Now you get to go in your trunk and be like, well,
Okay.
but it's not like,
However,
beat cops are definitely in a dangerous place. But then think about it. That'll make them rethink the idea of walking up to someone and be like, hey, son, what's going on? And big tough lord copping on people because you're not fucking armed anymore.
right? They can't do their hitch their belt and slowly saunter to you walking.
They can't act like they're a knight hopping off their horse in front of peasants and being like, I'm the one with the sword. What are you doing? Respond to me. Speak. You have to talk now. I have a gun.
Who are you to respond in that manner?
Like,
Right.
there's a way of doing it.
Well, now hang on. Dareline chimes in with the reason they have rifles now is mostly stuff like the North Hollywood shootout, the FBI Miami-Dade shootout. Plus, just last week during a traffic stop, a cop got wasted by a cartel dude with a rifle. Ay, ay, ay.
I'm sure having that handgun on his waist stopped the rifle bullet.
So, but at that point, they just, oh boy.
If people are out to kill cops, they're probably going to get you anyway.
They're going, no, but I'm not, this... These are weapons of caliber that go through cinder block. Like I don't. A regular cop responding is ill equipped for such a thing.
If you're going up against someone with a caliber rifle that can go through your bulletproof vest, though, you were fucked before you got out of the car.
Although Dare goes, though Monox is making good points. All right, you see. Listen,
like I said, I don't think I have a perfect system, but if I had to put two things on the top of the list, a better arming system and a better committee overseeing police.
So, okay, because fire everyone and start all over again. However, there are some instances where that won't fly, because imagine something like a police precinct in a part of like Brooklyn or like, Manhattan. Yeah. And like if you fire everyone, someone's got to make sure no one is like urinating in the street, like going after someone with Molotovs, stealing a car. There's now a lot of unchecked things, so there has to be a transition. It can't, you have to ship with Theseus this shit, unless we're talking like outside of a major city. So let's say like a county, all right?
A small county could do it overnight.
So no. All right, because in a small outside of cities, the police force have like you're more, I guess, inclined or prone to have a certain familiarity with the people you and the community you serve.
Yes.
Because let's say it's like a town of like even like 400, or even like a smaller city or whatever. The point is
something in that range.
So in areas like this, like sheriffs have to run for office. You're not just like, it's not okay. Have you ever seen season 1 of Fargo?
Yes.
All right. So like Bob Odenkirk fails upward and now he's the sheriff. So like, evidently, like if people were running, he wouldn't stand a chance in hell. Yeah. Because it's like, because if people are running for this office, it's like, what's your record look like?
Yeah.
Like, have you ever been involved in a scandal? Have you ever?
You're in a town full of people who don't mind your record.
Right. So like, and so who's to stop another cop, or even like, from then I run for sheriff.
Yeah.
And then, although I'd like to imagine this would spawn like a generation of like cop on cop grimy activities, as of like, revenge and vendetta, because I don't. So no, you're not. I am a big fan of elected sheriffs. No, hang on. He's responding to Kool-Aider, who was responding to him earlier. Hang on just a bit, chap. The cop I mentioned, there's a vid of his dash cam. The cartel dude got out of his car as the cop requested, went around his truck and blasted him around the corner. Kool-Aider goes, I am just glad that we're in a timeline where we're getting daily snuff videos delivered to our timelines for us to comment on.
It's kind of wild, right? I mean, we've had that. It used to be execution videos.
Elected. Oh, right. Remember?
It used to be like overseas executions.
And it was like beheading videos, and now it's just
rock
like
on head.
And now, or like, give the little kid a gun, and then the guy's chained to something like in a ball pit.
Necklacing videos was a thing. Remember necklacing?
I have a soft spot in my heart for stoning videos, because like that's biblical, like time, like revival.
Yeah. Not big stones though.
No.
Like hand-sized stones.
Bury you halfway up, and that's like, and everyone, and then and then eventually so many stones are thrown, they have to take a break. So like they pick up, they go up and and then they get like kicks in, like
they start.
They just keep, and then they just go back up.
It gets out of hand.
So however,
it goes from a stoning to just a straight up beating.
You could be not following any political people, and you're going to see like this on your timeline.
Yeah, actually, that's kind of true, because I feel like, I follow a lot of people who come into chat, and I try to avoid heavy-handed political anyone, because I don't want to deal with it. I can't go on things like Instagram and look at my social circle of people I know IRL, whether they be like old friends, new friends, or family, and not just see this shit anymore. It's fucking everywhere. And I still think the quarantine is keeping people from being like, I have to worry about like my fucking 9 to 5 and my rent, and it's just like, this fucking thing happened. Fucking thing happened.
Well, now, although it should be noted though, on one hand, the context in all of this is a little bewildering to me, only because, not to be cynical, but I was like, we've been long overdue for one of these things, right? And then like 4 of them happened in a row, like at which why didn't we talk about ice cream instead of going like we've been long overdue for one of these things?
Yeah, well,
should have been talking about like Jolly Ranchers or nachos or some shit.
Do you know if the 3 strikes policy is still a thing?
You mean like in prison sentencing?
Yes.
I believe in California it's still a thing.
Only California?
I could be. California is just like this weird experiment that went wrong, and we have to give Cali to Poseidon.
I only bring it up.
Now hang on.
Ooh.
There goes. I think the ridiculous executions with AA guns in Canada are pretty fascinating. Yeah, and they're like 10 feet away, and the pickup truck is right here, and the guy's here, and ground beef.
Yeah, you got Kool-Aider.
Kool-Aider was got. ISIS crucifixion video are like the Shawshank Redemption of the snuff film world, I guess.
Kind of. I mean, I'm sure there's crazy shit out there. Someone's got like one of these serial killers had to have had some crazy fucking films.
Oh. I would like
the FBI has those. You know what I mean? Like no one's gonna see them. But the reason I bring up 3 strikes is like now that since it's no longer like a thing for criminals, I guess it makes less sense. But that's a policy that, while used on criminals, seems very like it seems almost ridiculous to be like, haha, 3 minor crimes means a regular crime, and it's like that's not how it works.
Right.
But 3 strike system on police getting reported for shit. You know what I mean?
I thought you meant like 3 strikes in terms of like the 3rd time you go to prison, it's for life.
Well, I mean, but that as well. But I'm saying that principle of like you get 3 shots. You know what I mean? Like apply that to police officers. Like you got reported, we investigated it, they were right, you're a piece of shit. Happened again, you're a piece of shit. Happened again,
you're fired.
You're fired. Because there are dudes with like records of like,
all right,
15 fucking reports.
Oh right, and then when they're finally like unceremoniously like and disgracefully taken away, they appeal so they could get their pension.
Yeah, or they go to another state and they go work at another precinct.
Right. Now hang on, AVH chimes in with sponsored by Toyota. Oof, in the Middle East ever since the late 70s, baby. Man, like, and seriously, like, eventually we're just gonna start seeing like. Imagine a first-person view of on the ground in a real-time strategy game where like the light cavalry are just like dozens upon dozens of Toyota like pickup trucks with like something heavy in the back.
Check that shit out from Dare Lion. That's fucked up.
There was some Russian serial killer teenager recorded like 2-3 homicides in Russia where they tore into some old people with hammers and ice picks. Oh, Dare, was that 3 guys 1 hammer? Because I remember there was a video of these 3 Russian teens, and they had first they had a hammer. They had something else, and things to jab and to open up, and it was just awful. It sounds
just awful.
There was that 3 right. Oh, okay. 3 guys 1 hammer. Here. Okay, Kool-Aider probably knows, if anyone else, what I'm talking about. Do you remember this gore video called Chech Clear, where this Russian soldier got captured by Chechens, all right? And like they just behead him with a knife, and it takes minutes. And like in the beginning, there's like the gurgling and it just takes forever and ever until they're like, just bring up the axe, and then they just right. But no, that dates back to like the Rotten.com days.
Yeah, I don't know why people want to watch that shit.
And now Kool-Aider goes, oh yes, yeah, I remember that one.
Sick bastards.
Yes, and they were all, and it's weird because like at one point one of them like turned in and he's like, hey, and it's like this isn't like just watching something crazy on the beach, or like I saw a guy break dance in the Walmart parking lot. No, it was like
you're not at a live show having a good time. What the fuck is wrong with you?
This, and you know, It's not just in Three Guys, One Hammer. What I've always found fascinating when people are filming their exploits where they see something happen live is as if like they have to be like, I am confirming that I too am here, and then they continue filming the thing, and it's like this.
Yeah, I've noticed that too.
I'm gonna believe you if you show me this on your phone.
I mean, if you upload it or you even show me the video and it's like, look, did you see this shit? It's like, of course this was you. No, but you know, it's probably...
even when people are getting beat down. World Star, people are getting beat down. He's like, I'm seeing this beat down.
That's a clout chasing thing, though, isn't it? That's why I was interested in it. Because, like, you can't just record it. You have to have your face in it so you can be like, I was here. Otherwise, you could be sharing it, like, from someone else's.
This is true. All right.
If you want to be the one who goes, nah, that was my video. I caught that shit. You gotta, don't help them record.
And even if it's like an across the pond fight, all right?
He got too.
Oof! You see,
you can't say ISIS.
It's not. Listen, that is the second time this has happened.
Put a space, make it is.
Is all right. Yo, we have to cancel is into was. All right.
Just call them was. There you go, chat. Call them was, and we'll work around.
We'll work around the problem. Chimes in and got struck down with ISIS live stream with super chat on the non-California Twitch equivalent is the future of was live stream with super chat on the non-California Twitch equivalent is the future of stuff.
There you go. Look at that. Worked around.
Oh, was. Where would we be without you?
You think we can get was to spread fast enough that it gets like banned? How do we get was trending?
Listen, we have to turn ISIS into was. We have to, because language dictates society these days instead of the other way around.
I mean, this could be a thing we could try. We could really try and get this to happen. We put our minds to it.
All right.
I want to get far enough that the auto mod bans was.
So before I forget, all right.
Yes, and lose track of what we were saying.
In a low population setting, something like electing sheriff would be, I would argue, it's not perfect, but it would be better. Then now hang on, John Woo chimes in with, we turned them into was by blowing them back into the sand caves where they belong. God bless America. You're goddamn right, John Woo. God bless America. All right, because of all the sinking ships in the world, we're the best ones. All right. So
our sinking ship has blackjack and hookers.
Yeah. What is and we have we get to worry about problems like, oh, the only thing that could stop a good tornado is a good tornado with a gun. Like
we get to worry about how we have so much food that we're throwing away in waste.
Think about it. In a world where people are dying of starvation, how many people are dying of obesity in the United States?
Seriously.
It's pretty wild. It's pretty wild.
I think the last time the CDC chimed in, they were like, America's up to 70% obesity rates. 70%.
Glorm intensifies.
Fucking A.
We at America, we eat the prom daily.
Fucking parts of the world are actually starving, and we have 70% obese populations.
Imagine,
a lot of those people are also like, it's fine, don't worry about it, I'm healthy, it's okay.
Imagine there's someone like overseas, and like they're like, I want to go to America where all of the poor people are fat.
Yeah,
and he's probably in like India or like Cambodia or some shit.
I don't even think that's a hypothetical. That's happening.
Like that's.
There are people who can like come here and beg and eat better than where they are. That's how. Oh, for fuck's sake.
So before I forget, something like a low population area electing their sheriffs, I think, would be like worst case scenario, like a step in the right direction. So better case scenario, now elected officials are being held accountable by the
because you're in charge of
by the communities, like they have sworn to uphold and protect.
Yeah.
So like in a situation like this, you end up resembling like No Country for Old Men, but then like Llewellyn calls in the SWAT because like he's a ghost, and everywhere we go, their bodies like descend to the SWAT.
Yeah, sending the whole team. I mean, even with that in mind, like you're saying in a small population town kind of thing. I mean, technically, you could do that in a place like New York. However, you make sure that the police chief of each individual precinct is from the area.
Well, herein lies the issue and the problem, though. Like here in in New York City, in the NYPD, all right, you don't necessarily end up serving the district in where you live in, especially like when you're
Well,
a
yeah.
first hire.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, that should be the case.
Ideally,
Like, why would you not put people in the neighborhood they live in to protect their friends, family, and the people they interact with?
and who better to get like local intel? Who
Yeah.
better than to know the language, the terrain, the
You'd feel
people?
a lot better
like,
if the police officers that you deal with because they live around you and they shop with you, they're the ones that are policing you.
it also cuts down the necessity for like, let's say like some fucking crime goes off, all right?
Yeah.
And now like, oh, okay, we have witnesses and we have people on the scene, but like we need an interpreter for what language? I don't know what they're speaking. So like if there are people from the fucking neighborhood, they would understand like, oh, like that's Urdu, or
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that's Creole, or that's Russian,
live
or
there,
that's
you know,
Greek, or that's, you know, like evidently everybody knows Spanish, which is kind of funny. But like,
Interesting enough, I think I told you about the guy that I had found on the sidewalk. I mentioned that story a little while
no.
back. Like, long story short, a little while back, I was going to get a cup of coffee, and my friend and I were walking, and we just see this what looks like an old man with his walker, like sitting on the edge of the curb by the street, and he's just like laid out and like trying to get in his walker, and like no one's helping him. They're just like walking by him and ignoring him. And then one lady runs up and goes to help him, and me and my friend walk over and we pick him up and we get him on his walker, and we're trying to talk, but the guy only speaks Spanish. I don't speak Spanish. No one else did either. My friend knew a little bit, enough to like get basic information, and we figured out like name, a phone number, like who can we contact.
And then you called. They're like, we want to do it.
Well, no, we called the ambulance, and when they got there, the fucking guy like we were like, listen, like we told
no
them on
hospital,
the phone.
no
Well,
hospital.
We told them on the phone. We were like, he speaks Spanish. We don't speak very good Spanish. Like, send someone. And then like the two people that got there, both were like, we don't speak Spanish. What are you talking about? I was like, like what? We asked, like we told them we need, and then the guy was like, no hospital, no hospital. And he went from like drugged up, just got out of the hospital, falling out of his walker, get me a cup of coffee, like old man, to like, oh, there's a hospital, and he just booked, like walker in hand, like that man dipped. But the point is, as you mentioned,
find the metaphor.
The language is a thing in a neighborhood. Like, yeah, being able to communicate, but just being a representative of your community would help a lot.
Because listen, what if there is a tip off in law enforcement, let's say in like Steinway Street, and they happen to think that one of the storefronts might be a laundering for was.
Yeah.
Like it would be much better off if one were to overhear such a thing if they speak and understand Arabic, as opposed to like Portuguese or Hungarian.
Well, you would hope that if they're overhearing that, they're probably. But yeah, again, they should be assigned somewhere where they can communicate and understand.
And this is the second time I'm bringing up Charlie Wilson's War tonight. Check this out. Have you seen this movie?
I have.
Okay, so remember when fucking Philip Seymour Hoffman as everyone's Uncle Costa, he's all like, maybe it would fucking help if you had spies in the country they were sent to fucking spy on. Like, it's just like, which you would figure is day one shit.
Yeah.
Right? And that, but imagine that lack of foresight, not only just for this world of spooks towards the end of the Cold War,
yes,
to like law enforcement,
but now
on the most local level,
on
the most basic local level, you have that problem.
I'm wondering how we got there in general. Generally speaking, the closer we can keep political stuff local, the more influence locals have over their own lives rather than other people who they will never meet. Yeah. And Philip Seymour Hoffman had the greatest on-screen death in any movie ever.
For which movie, Coolator? Please excuse me, I'm an uncultured slob.
Yeah, I agree with their line. Like, having people run their local communities.
Red Dragon. Oh, I haven't seen Red Dragon. I'm sorry. But there, in terms of like, well, okay, no, but herein lies, okay. Local politics is where the magic happens, okay? And yes, I'll spare you the it's how we legalized gay weed argument and talking point.
Except
right?
you didn't. You basically just said it.
But no. I'm not going to walk you through it.
You're going to get enough of that soon when we go to the marijuana rally.
So, which is right, because even though marijuana is legalized, there's a 420 rally on the 1st of May.
It's not really a 420 rally. Apparently it's just like, it's like a day. I can pull up the thing. I can read it to you. I can tell you exactly what it is because I've kept that tab saved. Cannabis parade and rally.
Oh, you know what's a talking point I'd like to exercise that day?
It's his longest running rally.
So, all right,
nothing here about.
I'm getting wise to your nonsense. So, I would like to exercise the line. now that this is legal, what about all the people who were arrested for it before it became legal?
That's still a problem.
Like there are all these basic day one things that seem to be like a truth inverted to some people.
There's something that people also didn't realize, and I think this was kind of funny. When things like that get legalized, usually two things happen. It's legalized up to a degree,
right?
This many plants, this much on you, personal use.
These many ounces on your person.
Yes, and it's legalized for production and sale via a licensed building or company.
Mm-hmm.
So then there's this weird middle gray area that never really gets mentioned, and I could be wrong. Like, if you live in a state where they did address this, feel free to chime in and say, like, no, they did that where I'm from.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, as an individual, you can have so much on you and grow so many plants. You still can't sell it. It's personal use only. You going around and being like, yo, what's up, I got bud, that's still illegal.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're still not allowed to be a dealer. And even in bulk, even, you especially can't deal in bulk.
Right.
And then because now there are stores that are going to do it. And if you want to sell, you better get that goddamn license and get taxed.
Oh, now hang on. Dare chimes in with keep weed illegal to keep weed cheap. You see, there are alternate takes because, listen...
I don't know. I feel like it's gotten cheaper, though. At least over here. And I've only got the very recent, because 420 just happened and it was legal. Everyone I know is saying that, people are hooking it up because now they can, people are getting shit from California sent in and it's no longer like, yeah, my boy grows this in the basement somewhere. It's just like, nah, I can get, crazy shit in bulk here. Let's go.
Because now because it's a buyer's market. So hang on. John Woo chimes in with, I have to agree with that. All right. Oh, are you okay, dude?
I'm just getting a phone call. I don't know who it is.
Oh.
But it's not a scam number.
You should have totally answered it live.
No. Not doing that.
Okay. So was it a like an out of country number?
No, it was a local number. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, it was a 718.
Oh shit! All right. So if it's important, they'll leave a voicemail.
Hopefully.
All right. You should text them back and be like.
I responded via text already, so we'll see if it's an actual a number that can receive text messages.
Then who was phone? All right. So.
Oh no! You threatened me.
Kool-Aid was get got. No, John Woo was get got.
John Woo was got for threatening me.
Now hang on, ladies and
jerks. He said Monoxus was so dead serious.
Now hang on. Now Dare earlier was all, I hate the 17th Amendment. All right. So if you hate the 17th Amendment, you're not in bad company. So Kool-Aider goes, I'm growing turbo skunk in my grandma's garden vibes. John Woo chimes in, Monoxus was so dead serious, huh? No.
Hey, Viztex, thanks, man. Or
Viztex.
Person.
Vivtex, thank you,
there you go.
For your service.
Hello.
You are doing your part. Gracias por tu consideración. So, A of the H, damn credit union. Maybe it's just someone trying to send a fax. Well, here's the thing, though.
People still send faxes?
Yes. Monoxus hasn't rented out from Letterbox either Under Siege or Under Siege 2 Dark Territory in a long time. And, now that he's back, he might be back, to his old shenanigans in the credit union, always keeping him on his damn phone.
I just,
That's right, John Woo. Reminder that no is also and can be a complete sentence. So, Vivtex, back at you. So, I'm more or less done in wanting to discuss cops.
The police.
Unless there's anything else you or someone in chat has in mind that they'd like to throw out there.
I mean, I think we covered for the most part.
I just think
until more shit happens, and then we'll have to talk about cops again. In 6 years, when this guy gets off and he switches to another state and gets a job in another police precinct, and no one bats an eye about it.
I just think it's near. Hello, fellow kings, homie, big ups to big homie.
Now John was all. If they left me a voicemail.
So if they did leave you a voicemail, you could just tell them a cameraman he's out panning for gold. All right, so.
It's very possible. Because they didn't text me. Oh. So it seems like a number at someone's home.
I'm calling 8 weeks. They're going to do a mistrial. No, hang on.
Oh man, imagine that.
Well, he was okay. He shot her in the head, right?
Oh, we're talking about the Chauvin.
Not Chauvin. I'm talking about knife preventing stab man.
I don't know if that hasn't gone to trial yet.
Right, but
what Caroline is talking about is the
Chauvin thing. Well, no. Because well, okay.
I don't think anybody wants to. I don't think anyone wants that.
Dare, all right. Oh, he goes. Oh, he's not gonna get charged. All right, so Dare, screen cap this. All right. Let's say you are right. This is going to be necessary because the riots need to happen. They're necessary because reasons. All right. So even if there is a I suppose the pressure valve of rioting being on the table did not open with the guilty charge, and maybe someone fucked up and realized, wait, fuck, we want to give them what they want, but we also need the riot. Mistrial. And then, in the heat of summer, when it is the most sweltering and humid, it feels like you're walking through a car wash of nothing but jungle ass, all right? Yeah. Mistrial, all right? So, Dare, I'm going to hold you to this, all right?
I mean, yeah, I guess we'll see. I'm not going to say never, right? Because it's very possible. I just feel like at this point, nobody wants that.
Abe the H chimes in with, at Dare, dead body in a cell plus post-mortem mistrial. Ooh. Listen, stop reading ahead, all right? That's not cool, Abe the H. John Woo clipped this. I hope someone did. Dare goes, I believe 50 Cent put this best. In the hood in the summertime, it's the killing season. It's hot out this bitch. That's good enough reason. Right. Ooh. All right, Dare.
People lose their mind during when it's hot out, you know?
It does things to people. Listen, rain or shine, I'll put up fucking flyers, but for whatever reason, in the summer, it just attracts all sorts of, monsters and civilians and mutants and people and, hood rats and gopniks and, fucking, just assholes and really cool random people.
Hey, Sour Scroat.
Sour Scroat, what's good, homie?
I got a question, though. You said you put up flyers in the rain. Doesn't that defeat the purpose of putting up flyers?
If you put it up with glue and adhesive spray, it sticks. Not when it's heavily raining. If it's drizzling or misty, I'll still put up fucking flyers. I've put up flyers in the fucking snow before.
Fair enough.
So listen, rain or shine, you've got to fucking mark your territory like a wolf with piss.
Oh, could you use adhesive spray to put a layer on top of the flyer and make it semi-waterproof?
I'm not sure. I've never done that.
Probably could.
Maybe.
It wouldn't be permanent because it'll still wear down with enough rain.
Of course, right, but that's
also make it harder to scratch off.
That's
be hardened from the glue.
that's true. I just have to fucking get more adhesive spray then, but I think that's possible. That's a really good idea.
I need a lot of adhesive spray. A lot of adhesive spray.
Well, I've got a lot of glue, so I could even it out with a lot of adhesive spray.
That's fair.
So, not much Sour Scroat. We're just plowing through words main things. We had concluded discussing cops. You know what? If you have anything to discuss in terms of law enforcement, let us know. We're going to hold that up for Sour Scroat. And if anyone has nothing else to say about the police, we're going to be moving on. Because
look, if you want to yell at us about cops in the chat, we'll respond.
All right? I just want to bring up one last thing. All right? It's important for, I suppose, anyone to consider discussing law enforcement that it's one of the hardest jobs in the world. And I imagine law enforcement outside, which is true, outside the United States makes law enforcement in the United States seem like they handle us with kids' gloves. All right.
Maybe. I think it depends on where you are.
But imagine a cops in Brazil or Russia.
But now you're
China.
You're picking extremes. The cops,
we're an extreme compared to some other countries.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but I'm saying,
creatures.
Sure. there are definitely places where they have the fucking secret police style, or cops can probably execute you in Brazil, and it doesn't matter.
Right place, right time.
Yeah, but we're here when someone kills someone, we have to question whether or not they were in the right for doing so, and then then it becomes tricky because that's where it becomes the legal battle, and was it okay? Well, I imagine in Brazil if they're all right, fuck you, bang, people are gonna be
well, partially because we have habeas corpus and all these fucking rights and X, Y, and Z, and
yes.
Right. So in spite of all of this, they have to make split-second decisions in milliseconds, and they're often faced because not to be bitter or caustic or cynical, but there's a possibility that every call, every vehicle they pull over could be their last.
Yeah.
And there is enough footage of just a dash cam of a guy who's all right, driver license and registration, gets lit up with an AK, and you hear him scream and bleed out.
Yeah.
And it is nightmarish. Or there's one video where a guy gets lit up and he just calls into dispatch and goes, "Tell my wife and kids I love them." And it's like, and then you see the last minute and 40 seconds of this guy's life, and it is heartbreaking. It just, and so yes, like, you know what, let the record state, Sour Scroat, I'm still waiting on you. The point is, anyone who ever had ACAB in their Twitter bio, or anyone who ever tweeted that, or in their Instagram, if you call 911 for anything, you should just get like 911's a joke by Public Enemy played back to you on loop.
Oh, I mean, I kind of agree with that sentiment for a lot of things, though. Like, I just in general.
No one ever brings up like
anti-vaxxers shouldn't be able to get vaccinated when they need it.
Right.
Or like if they need medical assistance afterward, they shouldn't be given it because you chose not to. Things like that.
You've been tweeting about this for 6 years. You don't get it now.
You've been anti-vaxxers mad hard. Oh, your kid's sick?
So now.
Yeah, so that kind of stuff. But yes.
So, it is really, it's really easy to overlook that, like, all right, yes, of course, the bad cops are going to be worse than the bad anything else because, like, they have a badge and a gun.
They're also on display, which I think is another thing that, like, John Woo kind of chimed in with that a little earlier, where it's like, I'm just kind of tired of hearing about people dying, where how many cops every single day are doing their job by the books and not, like, stop resisting? Like, how many of them are doing that?
Right.
Nothing. No tweets, no, like, unless you're in the police community, like, fucking, like, thank you, like, you're fucking, the blue line, like, you're those people. How many are doing that and nothing? And then, like, and this piece of shit over here.
but here's the thing. All right. So
look at cops.
If you take out that little segment of, like, that piece of shit over there, you're gonna have, like, a fraction of cops that are just, like, clocking in, clocking out. They've got no horse. They're just upholding the law. Got no horse in this race. And then you're gonna have a smaller fraction of cops that, like, imagine, like, let's say, like, they like what they do, and they're trying to interact and get to know it. They're like, then that and only there is when it fucking steers into No Country for Old Men. Because what if there's a cop, and, like, for all intents and purposes, he's like, no, just get out of here.
Yeah, like
I don't
want to see you here.
And it doesn't matter if it's because of an altruistic sense.
Yeah.
Or what if this guy's like, I've got Mr. Bungle tickets. Like, I don't need 3 hours of paperwork. I don't want to take you to central booking. I don't.
Piss off.
Get out. I don't need you here. All right. But then what if like there's like two people fighting, and it's like, it's my wife's anniversary. This is you just go there and you just break it up and you wail on both of them and you leave. Like, that's No Country for Old Men. That is the only time such a thing could, because this small fraction, because they're all on display now.
Yeah.
And it's now like, hey, look at that asshole over there. And you almost never see, like, a highlight reel of just cops doing their job.
No, never.
Like,
unless someone purposely goes out of their way to show you, like, a pillar of their community police officer, you don't see it, And I mean, like, let's be fair. Like, I've never really met, like, a cop where I was like, give this man an award. Like, most of them are just going around, and if they see something, they're interacting. If not, they're just trying to have a cup of coffee and sit in the car and listen to the radio, because the same way you're like, I hate being at work and I wish I could kill the time faster. For some of them, they're like, this is a fucking job, and, like, I'm just going to sit in the car, I'm going to drink my coffee, I'm put on the radio, and I'm going to, like, come on, 12 hours. Come on, 12 hours. Nobody do anything stupid. Come on, 12 hours. Like, I'm sure most of them are.
I sure hope no one does anything stupid, says Officer McCluskey behind the wheel.
Thought about, imagine a desk cop. We're talking about someone who's been on the desk for a long time. And not because they're a piece of shit and they got put on the desk because they're a piece of shit. We're talking about someone who possibly knew someone, or by virtue of doing their job right, eventually nailed the spot where they can sit at the desk and not be in the line of fire.
Right.
And now imagine sitting there and walking out of your precinct every day and someone's, like, throwing, like, fucking tomatoes at you and being like, you bastard, how dare you do what you do? And it's like, man, I fill out paperwork literally all day. I'm basically a fucking office worker. How dare you?
It's never
Imagine that guy.
It's never like paralegals or, like, fucking it's never like court, like, and here, okay. For all of the ire and the fire and bile and venom that these people have, how come they never turn their attention or their gratitude or their time or their resources to, like, public defenders? All right.
Yeah, that's
because
true.
Like, for all of the misdirected piss and vinegar Like public defenders are like 100 times worse than playing medic and no one says thank you.
Yeah.
Considering that, like,
Or how about the people that, I mean, like, you're saying public defenders, what about the ones that actually go out of their way to defend people who are in the wrong?
now, right.
Well,
And on
why
top of
go
this,
after
listen, AMDH, I'm quoting you here, that, like, talking to a cop, it's like, and mistakes and fuck ups are their 9 to 5. It's like talking to a mortician about his job, too. Like, you see, so, um, one last story and we're done with cops. All right.
You hope.
Oh, one can hope. So, once upon a time, I have an uncle, and he fought in like Vietnam, and
Right.
you're in a foxhole, and eventually you got nothing else to do, and like you have to wait until fucking patrol's done, and then so eventually people just start talking about like like what were they doing, So there's this kid, and he was like from Boston, and like he wanted to be a cop, but then he got drafted. All right. So he was like, "What made you want to be a cop?" All right. And he was like, "Oh well, like like as an auxiliary police officer on my first day, there was just like this guy. He was in his like mid-20s, this like Irish guy, and he was like, all right, like it was like 1 a.m, and there are like a fight is breaking out in front of the only strip club in the worst part of like the hood part of Boston." And he punches it and drives like a bat out of hell across the entire fucking city. Like, and I quote, like when you see someone speed run like a mission in Grand Theft Auto, just breaking every light, going around everything, but he knew the city like the back of his hand.
Okay.
It was like very proficient, like Drive.
Okay.
All right, gets there, and on the way there, he teaches them how to use the radio. All right, and then he gets there and he parks and he's like, all right, don't leave the car. If you hear gunshots, call on the radio like I taught you. If you hear me call to tell you to call for the radio, call for the radio. If anyone shoots the car, call for the radio. If you get hurt, call for the radio. Don't get out of the car. And he takes a breath and he runs out, and there's like dozens of people fighting. It has yet to get to like guns, all right? And he just runs into dozens of people, just peeling one person off at a time, trying, and then like ducking punches but getting kicked. And then like, all right, like as he gets surrounded, 2 cops show up and then cars are pulling up, and it just turns into this incredible, magnificent like free for all. And thank God no one got shot. All right, this was like during Vietnam, so like thank God no one got shot. Although a couple of people did get like stabbed and beat, and like like people had things on them, because no one talks about knuckle dusters anymore. So the point
You
is,
don't see him very often.
so right, or like blackjacks, or
Yeah.
like
I mean, because now knives are so readily accessible,
so
and they're way more efficient when you're trying to get the job done.
So now this like fucking kid, on his first day in the auxiliary police, like now he's sitting in like he's sitting shotgun, and there are like 3 guys who are just kind of like bloodied and fucked up, and the cop shows up, and like yeah, he's kind of messed up too, but like without like losing stamina or wind, and he was just like, so when are you joining? And he was like, that's when I knew I wanted to be a cop. And then like a couple months later, he fucking got drafted, and now he's in Nam.
Damn.
So like. Ladies and jerks, if you're from the United States and if you have a member of your family that fought in Vietnam, you should talk to them. Like they've seen and done and overheard very ridiculous things that no writer's room could ever come up with.
If I'm not mistaken, 3 of my 4 uncles were in Vietnam.
one of my very, very favorite details of No Country for Old Men is how like Llewellyn is a World War II vet. You find this out in the book, like more explicitly.
Oh yeah.
But like
it's kind of mentioned. It's not mentioned, but it's like
and it's funny because
the
even
movie kind of like references the time just to make sure you understand. Like
right,
this is what happened recently.
and even in the book, he even goes into yeah, I fought in the war, and this, and I'm not going to talk about what happened. And it's like okay, there, like
Yeah,
that's
I don't want it.
that. All
And
right,
presumably, Sugar he's definitely in the war.
no, because like fucking Carson says when was the last time you saw him, and it was like November something something 1968, which that Vietnam vets left to their own discretion, and look what happens. And not just like regular Vietnam vet, like Carson is special forces, which means
Sugar is probably ex special forces, if anything.
because before he got Carson, he goes, it brings past events into question, which
Yeah.
means, like, did they roll together at some point? Probably.
Probably.
Or at the very least ran in the same circles.
Yeah. Or they may have butted heads at the time.
Perhaps.
They
Perhaps.
could have been like rival-esque.
Oh. That would kind of make sense, because you'd have to bring in a specific person for Anton Chigurh. Like, that's...
Yeah. And, you know, maybe at some point in their past, they were both very, very good at what they did. And one of them went on a path to continue being, you know, this warrior. And the other one ended up a suit who does jobs for corporate entities to get their money back.
Or semi-corporate entities.
Or
like...
the government. But, like, he no longer does the, I'm going to go out there and kill people with my bare hands. And he's not a merciless killer anymore. He took the desk job, and then it's like, all right, we were rivals, and you were pretty good, but now look where you are. And, like, you know, what's in question now? Well, who was better?
Who's got the quicker luck of the draw at this point?
Who was the stronger adversary?
So Dare chimes in with, I heard you can tell if a cop is going to give you a ticket depending on what sunglasses they wear. Like Oakley flak jacket guys are going to give you the full beans, but Costas guys are going to give you a warning if you have an average record. It's just 50. You heard it here first, folks.
I hope there's some truth to that. Now,
If they're wearing Oakley flak jackets.
I feel like, I mean, my memory is absolutely garbage, but I feel like almost all the times I've gotten tickets, they were not wearing sunglasses.
Yeah, this is. However, it depends on where he's broadcasting from. Because here, like in New York City, like unless it's summer or broad daylight outside, like you don't get much of the
sunglass cops.
That's usually reserved for highway patrol, and those are their own different beast. However,
staple of highway patrol is the stupid fucking sunglasses.
One thing that I want to discuss, and I think we've got a pretty good mix for this topic. So
yeah.
To discuss arcades. So I don't know to what degree arcades were a part of people's upbringing. I was very lucky to grow up in not only like were there arcades, but there were like also arcade games where outside of arcades.
Well, you're talking about like the pizzerias that had arcade games,
right?
Like that's how I first got introduced to side-scrolling beat 'em up games. Was pizzerias having like what was it, Turtles in Time? I think is the game, and the Simpsons side-scroller. Mortal Kombat was fucking everywhere when I was growing up.
Street Fighter 2 was everywhere too.
Street Fighter 2 was I never really got into Street Fighter as a kid, but it was around. But yeah, there used to be a lot of arcades. Remember, what was that place called? The Rax, the billiards place that was there for years, and then eventually Rax, the billiards place, became Rax, the Gentleman's Club, and they got rid of the arcade. But they used to have an arcade, and it was like you here for billiards, the bar, or the arcade. It's like I'm here for the arcade.
Although it is kind of cool though how like if you are feeling like expensive and you want to play like I forgot if it was Time Crisis 3, but like in the movie theater, it's like
movies used to have all the time too.
Like are you here to play the arcade games, or are you here to go to the movie theater?
Yeah. You know what's weird too? The movie theater, the Kaufman one that's over here.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that's the only one we have in the area now. There used to be the one on, what was it, 30th Avenue on the corner there?
On the 30th and Steinway.
Yeah, there used to be one there.
Yeah.
And that one was like a maze, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
It's very weirdly designed.
And it had like 2 staircases going up, and like,
it was really annoying to navigate. But the one on Kaufman, which is still there, I remember they used to have that little arcade section, right? Mm-hmm. Remember that? Like just that, like when you're going towards to where the movies are being screened. Right. There was that one section that had like 4 games. Right. And now that area is like prize machines, and like a photo booth and some other like dumb like hit the button and get the iPhone thing, right? Like that kind of shit.
Yeah. But
now the entire other backside is just like arcade games and like a little like little basketball games. Like they went ham, except they only have bad games.
Right.
They like that Terminator fucking game that nobody likes, and that Jurassic Park game that nobody likes.
It becomes because they're not put there by people who actually play the games. Like
they're put there for kids and stuff too.
Right.
It's meant to gimmick adults into being like, here you go.
However, during this period of like the 90s and then even into like the early 2000s, where they were like, for example, like the Neo Geo arcade games.
Yeah.
It was always
like the foreign ones.
Yes, because they would have like more than one game. You would cycle through, and sometimes you lucked out. And
those things are fucking gems at barcades.
Like those things, like, oh, we have Samurai Showdown 3, let's do this. And then, or it's like, oh, you have Puzzle Bobble 3, like, let's do this.
For me, it was always like showing up at an arcade and being like, all right, they're gonna have a game that's a versus game. It's gonna be like Marvel versus Capcom. It's gonna be like X-Men versus Street Fighter. Like there's going to be a versus fighter, and it's always like a roll of the dice which one they used to have, because there were so many back in the day, and I always loved walking in and being like, which one do they have? And if they had SNK Chaos, that was my favorite one by far, and almost no one has that shit. I mean, especially now, no one has fucking arcade games in general. But like when SNK Chaos was at a fucking arcade, or even was like, I'm going to the bar. Hey, SNK Chaos? Nobody has this. That game was amazing.
Start fucking upstaging people with Mars people.
Fucking Dimitri, baby.
Fire,
go to hell.
Kool-Aider chimes in with one of my earliest memories was the mall arcade. The Terminator 2 game, The Machine Gun That Rumbled, was my favorite of all time. You know, it was really great to see like that game to the end, and where you have to fight the T-1000 and you have to shoot the tank behind him so then you can shoot him. That whole game was just a gauntlet of misery. There was also Revolution X, which was in the similar vein, although like eventually games like that, they did not become as prominent. Perhaps because like first-person shooters became the norm.
They became console norms, yeah.
Right. So
you used to have to go to an arcade or like a pizzeria that had a shooting game.
But there is
to
like
play a shooter.
But it's funny because like how come that rapid fire kind of game didn't take off, but something like House of the Dead and Time Crisis did?
I feel like House of the Dead only took off because of the narrative that was weak with it. Like I don't know about the Terminator one. I can't speak for it. And like Darren had also mentioned, like Exotica Racing, that shit was mad fun back in the day. What's it called? Never had a bad time with a Time Crisis game. I think you know what, it might be the mechanics too. Like for me, Time Crisis has always stood out as one of the better shooting games because of the duck cover mechanic, and that made the game a lot more fun, even if you were terrible at it. Just the idea of like I can duck and cover, I can try and time this out, like. It feels good to have that kind of control.
Right.
Or in a game like House of the Dead, if you don't memorize where things are coming from and you're not like quick on the draw when shit pops up on screen, you may be like, it might take 4 shots to put that zombie down, and you've got enough time for 5. And if you weren't aware of it, like you were shooting something else, and it's like you better fucking switch.
You better be really good at reloading too.
Oh yeah, like the off-light like reloading. I mean, like I know people who've used the good old-fashioned put your gun on your hand on the end of the gun, and like you play like that.
And then just spam shooting through the entire game.
Well, yeah, because you can just keep doing this, and it counts as a reload.
This is
you don't have to fucking shoot off. That's the smart way to play those light gun games. Just keep that going. You know what else I love fucking playing? And people like swear by. Well, there are 2 games which I find nearly impossible to find.
Kool-Aider's Unstoppable at Lethal Enforcers, by the way.
Possibly.
Let that be known.
But like aside from SNK Chaos, which again no one really has fighting games anymore, and when they have fighting games, they have like. The newest Street Fighter, the newest King of the Fighters, the newest Blaze Blue, and
Tekken,
the newest Tekken. If Tekken has an arcade cabinet, it's going to be there. I don't know if games like Dragon Ball FighterZ got arcade cabinets. I doubt it. Pokken, the fucking Pokemon Tekken,
right?
That got an arcade release.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's a Tekken game, but it's Pokemon. Nintendo has arcade games. Nintendo has fucking Mario Kart Racing as an arcade game. Dave & Buster's, baby. They have Luigi's Mansion as an arcade game, and it's mad fun.
Wow.
It's a ghost shooter. You just suck them up. It's fun. It's really good. Nintendo's gotten arcade games.
But Nintendo, you sneaky SOB.
Why won't Monox's face be in WCW versus NWO? Why did that get banned?
Listen, Kool-Aider, we're not trying to like snitch on you, but for whatever reason, like
Monox's face me? Is that what you did?
Chat seems to think your statements to Monoxis constitute like a get-gotting. So, because Kool-Aider goes, why won't Monoxis face me in WCW versus NWO?
Kool-Aider, try this. Retype that, but instead of typing Monoxis out fully, just type Muno. And see if that does. Because it might be because you're using my name that it's recognizing that you're talking about me, and it thinks you're threatening me. Why are you threatening me? I was going to say, the 2 games, I can't fucking find
Kool-Aider,
them anymore.
come on, man.
Pump It Up, the dancing game. Everyone fucking loves DDR. Everyone loves that shit. Pump It Up was way more fun. And it had better fucking music. Fight me. And
you heard it here first.
There was a game, and I don't even know where to find it anymore. I've only ever seen it once, and I don't remember what the name of the arcade was because it wasn't the Chinatown arcade. It was an arcade way back. We're talking like 15 years ago, easily. All right.
Why won't was face me in WCW versus NWO? All right.
Well, now you go.
Wait, WCW versus NWO Revenge or WCW versus the World, or like which one? are we talking about?
We'll find out. But the other game, I wish I remember where it was because it was an arcade.
Oh, WCW NWO World Tour. I'm sorry.
Maybe you better remember it. I'm pretty sure it was in Manhattan, and it was like one of those you have to go down. Like Manhattan has a building for you to go into like the lower flights of steps.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like go down, and it's like a basement arcade, and it was massive.
Oh, fuck.
That shit is long gone though. Long
was
gone.
this downtown?
I think so, yeah. But there was definitely an arcade that was like you had to go into a basement and like you go down the steps and you turn down and there's another like weird fucking like staircase going down.
It was like a Resident Evil 1 layout.
It looked shady as shit. And I was like, where the fuck are we going? And my boys were like, there's an arcade, trust. And we go inside, and then it opens up, and it's just lights and fucking like...
And the clickety-clackety.
But the game they had was a Fist of the North Star game. And it was one of those pad puncher games.
Oh.
All right? And it was like 7 pads, and in order to win, you just had to 100 crack things to death. And it was the most fun I've ever had in an arcade in my life. Just like... wailing on enemies from Fist of the North Star and hitting pads, and when it was like, all right, it's 100 crack time, you have to hit every pad or you fail and die. Like, go ham and swing and shit. If there was any arcade games I would put in my house, those are the 3. SNK Chaos, I think like Pump It Up Volume, like the second version of it, and that fucking Fist of the North Star punching game.
All right, now hang on. Kool-Aid goes the one with Hulk Hogan. You mean the one where it's he's Hollywood Hulk Hogan? Because if that's the case, it's WCW versus NWO Revenge.
Why do you know these things?
Because they were great wrestling games on N64.
Okay, fair enough.
Kool-Aid goes, John Woo is about to cap a shrine in Dota 2. Let's all say his name. John Woo. If I had to have... Well, here's the thing. On one hand, I have very simple tastes when it comes to arcade games because when Chinatown Fair was around... It would just they were like,
oh wait, I think they didn't reopen, did they?
It is, but it's under new management and it's not the same.
Oh, is it?
It is a shell of its former self.
Okay, I've been waiting for Barcades to open back up. They're still closed because of the virus.
Walking by Kaufman is one of the saddest things because it's such a giant thing and it's closed, and that's eerie to look at. I think
theaters opened up recently.
Really?
Because I was at 14th Street. I went to Strand to pick up some books, and I remember walking by the 14th Street Union movie theater, and they had this wonderful they had the light sign there, like the old school band light sign that goes around.
Right.
And it was just talking shit at Cuomo for months. How fucking dare you? I mean, it wasn't how you know what I mean. It was talking shit at Cuomo and de Blasio and being like, you're killing this city and we won't survive. And for months, I would just go to either Strand or Forbidden Planet or just hang out at Union. And it was just fuck you, Cuomo and de Blasio. And I went by recently to get some books.
Amazing.
And right now, they're movies and it's open and they're movie theaters are back, baby. I can see Marvel movies again. Soon, July.
Soon.
And you can bet your ass I'm going to talk about that shit on stream.
So if I have to get 3, all right. So first of all, there is a game called Magical Drop 3 on the Neo Geo arcade, and it's a puzzle, and it's these different colored orbs, and they come down, and you have to get 3 or more, and you could get them in a straight line or at an angle, and they're bonus multipliers. And
like a Tetris kind of thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
But there's there's story mode, there's versus mode, and then there's endless mode. And endless mode is where the magic happens.
Okay.
Because eventually, you have it just gets after a certain point, it gets hard to the point of obscenity.
Sure.
But to get there, it's kind of like how when you play Hotline Miami, and now you're biker. Now you have to speedrun this game.
Yeah.
You get 5 daggers and a meat cleaver. Good luck. You have to speedrun this shit now. Once you get level 100 or so, it's all right. Everything you've learned how to do to get here, you now need to do all of that at the same time. Go.
Yeah.
And then the Juggernaut happens. So
okay.
Magical Drop 3.
I've never tried it, but I'll keep when Barcades come back. I'll look out for it.
It is, and I mean, you could kind of cheat if you play at home because you have a keyboard and you could just easily go like this, left and right, instead of left and right. And,
yeah. It's like playing Ghosts and Goblins in an arcade versus on a console. Ghosts and Goblins, I can beat on console very easily. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm sure I'm rusty now, and I would get my ass kicked. But I used to be able to run through that game and complete it after many, many, many days of practice. in the arcade, it's on the hardest setting, and that stick don't respond properly. Those janky jumps and like movement mechanics, they do not translate to arcade.
Oh yeah, and especially if you're doing like double jumps or like one jump in one direction and
then doubling back. Yeah, no, because the mechanics in that game are busted.
I would say, I want to go with. I'm torn between Galga and Centipede.
Oh, you like the older ones for sure.
Well, here's the thing. Once upon a time, there used to be because there are a few. Which fighting games really do I want to? I don't know, like King of Fighters '98. That was the one I was best at.
Yeah.
Only because like that was the last time you could have Ralph, Clark, and Hydern on the same team, even though like Hydern was on like the older gentleman team. It was like Kyo's no. Yes, Kyo's dad.
Oh, Kyo's dad.
Yes.
I don't remember Kyo's dad's name.
He just Kyo, but with a goatee, and he's got robes on. Him, Hydern, and like I think Takuma, which was like Ryo's dad.
Mr. Karate.
Yes. So it was basically the older gentleman's club.
Okay.
So you could just like it was the last time you were able to. So you snatch Hydern from there, and like Ralph, Clark, Leona, and it's like, hey, you're a good character. Shh, no, go away. So then like Hydern's better. Shh, go away. Why do you think so many versions of him end up in S tier? Shh, go away.
Yeah.
Like so, just Ralph, Clark, and Hydern. Punch, throw, and Hydern. That's it. He was a boss fight if you knew what you were doing. But that is like I wouldn't give an arcade spot just to King of Fighters '98 though. That's the thing.
Okay.
So
well, that's why if I had to pick a fighting game, it would be the SNK Chaos because there's just so much in it.
Right.
I
However, if it were within my wheelhouse, of course I would pick something like Street Fighter Third Strike.
Oh yeah.
Or like Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Like
those are both really. I mean, like if I see those at arcades or from like at a bar near there, I'm probably gonna dump a couple of bucks into those just to sit there and play.
Although, like I do have a soft spot, and where like if I see something like X-Men: Children of the Atom,
that's also if you have multiple people with you too, it's mad fun to play through.
Right.
They have that at the fucking barcade in what was it? Not the one at Astor Place, the other barcade in Manhattan.
Just be awful to people with Wolverine or Omega Red.
Yeah.
Like I forget what it's. I think it's called Marvel Superheroes. The one where like the last two bosses are Doctor Doom and Thanos.
I'm not sure.
There was a fighting game, Capcom, where it was like Captain America, Juggernaut, Spider-Man, Wolverine, but he had the bone claws, not the adamantium claws, and like a couple other characters. And at the end of the game, like you fought Doctor Doom, which is where like all the Doom characters come from in Salty Bet.
Oh, it's from that game?
Like, yes.
Oh, okay.
Complete with like Nebula Shield, and then like the rocks go around him.
NBC Doom.
Oh, well, they bought him back. That was the very first incarnation.
Okay, so I figured.
He is the cloth of which all Doom is cut from, and Thanos was the final boss. And during the
was that the same Thanos that ended up in NBC games as well, like Bubble Thanos and shit?
Yes, because in this fighting game you got gems as you fought in your fights.
I remember it. Yeah.
And when you press the start button, you can activate like the power gem, the time gem. Of course, if you got like the speed gem, was there a speed gem?
No, it was.
One of them gave you a speed up. I think that was time. Like time gave you a speed up. The reality gem, you just had projectiles with every fucking time you hit a button. So you could combo project.
Spammer, yeah.
The power gem, of course.
Stronger.
The life gem, you regained health. It was kind of like in versus mode, the gems made things really because like the computer really didn't use them.
Okay. Oh, but everyone got gems.
Well, if you're whooping that ass, you got gems.
Gotcha.
So, on one hand, I want to say Galga. On the other hand, Centipede, because it has like the trackball, and that is classic primo like arcade. Like it's not just joystick and button.
Yeah.
Like because you could like slow like a mouse. You could kind of like either like slow it down or like dash over and then stop the ball.
Yeah.
And it just that
you can get good with it.
Yes. So probably gonna have to go with Centipede for number 2. Because like Galga is fucking delicious and wonderful and great, and that used to be in the like they had a Galga Pac-Man and that's the best part. If they got Pac-Man, they got Galga. Those are the only remaining arcade cabinets left. the Galga Pac-Man combo.
Yeah.
But over in Chinatown Fair, they had one of those too, and that used to be right next to Golden Axe 2. So, Lindy Tactile Arcade Trackball, thank you, Dare. John Woo chimes in with NBA Jam and any Gauntlet game are also favorites of mine. Gauntlet is a fucking coin hog, though.
Dareline also wants to know like thoughts on Missile Command. I don't remember Missile Command.
Oh shit, Missile Command. All right, basically, you have these like, if I'm not mistaken, these like 3 like bunker things, and each one, like, if they're destroyed,
Is that the one where shit's falling down?
but you have to aim the missiles
And, like,
and the
and
explosion to prevent the thing. It's sort of like reverse Space Invaders,
Yeah.
or reverse Galga,
I get the idea, but that's the one. Is that correct? Is that Missile Command?
and you really do have to start timing, like, shoot where you think they're going to be rather than shoot at them. It's
I played
But-
it. I never enjoyed it though.
reversed, right?
But then again, I'll be fair. Like
I'm not really good at it, but I like playing it.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't really play many of the older arcade games. I think Galaga is like the one I spent the most time playing of older games.
I ended up appreciating Galga because in Tekken 3, to unlock one of the characters, you have to hit like a certain score,
On Galaga.
like on Galga, and I was like, "What's this game?" And I never looked back.
I don't know. I just I've never liked most of them, but I will say Galaga is one of the few where if I end up playing it, I enjoy playing it. Like I think Pac-Man's boring as shit. I don't know how people play Pac-Man. Like classic Donkey Kong cabinets are so boring. They're not fun games. And that's just me. Like I don't know. I'm just
Fair enough.
Galaga
Fair
for
enough.
some reason. I don't know. It holds up. It's really well. Space Invaders is fucking boring. I don't know how you play Centipede and have fun, but
So that would be number 2. Number 3, I'm tempted to go with I'm tempted to go at Time Crisis 3, only because like if listen, like if you're having a get together, right? Mario Party is one of the safest bets if like, outside of board games, or I don't know what the fuck people think are fun these days.
Yeah.
You to quote you, Mario Party is great because it's not over until the very end. So like people who get mad at Mario Party when the game isn't over yet are just
Yeah.
getting mad at nothing.
it
just
makes no sense.
even if you are great at the game, that doesn't guarantee you victory at all.
Not at all.
So
You can be great at a mini game and fuck up. You can be great at a mini game, and someone else is also great at a mini game. And the skill ceiling for Mario Party mini games is like if up here is fucking being good at Third Strike, like Mario Party mini games is like somewhere over here. And it's like I'm good at Mario Party. Congratulations, you are good in a game that 8-year-olds can beat. Like the games are the do this, do this, do this,
avoid death,
do this. Like it's not hard game.
run away from the gigantic boo.
Move out of the way. So yeah, people who get mad at Mario Party are out of their minds.
So I
You
think
fucking have fun. It's a party game.
so. Time Crisis 3, like if presumably speaking, not as many people will be familiar with Time Crisis 3 as they are with, let's say you have enough people for like Mario Party.
Yeah.
Time Crisis 3 is like, all right, like when you run out of lives, like let someone else try.
Yeah.
And now you're having people getting like this, and then
Rotating it.
and if there are people really invested in this, they're gonna like learn, like take cover, like this, and then like the branching paths, and it's
Yeah.
gonna just
You may
so-
actually beat a game of Time Crisis.
Time Crisis 3.
Oh no, Dareline calling me out of my short attention span.
So
Galaga is the fastest of the classics games. Listen to say more engaged. Yes. When games are slow, I get bored.
well, I mean,
Unless the games are like slow, like a farming game, like Harvest Moon. I love those things. They're calming.
or for example, let's see, Stardew Valley.
Love Stardew.
You
Stardew's
see?
a great game,
Plucking and farming in Stardew Valley.
especially in the caves when you're jolly stomping things to
But-
death and mining.
But I always,
And someone's like, "Hey, buddy, remember that farm your granddad got you?"
And
It's like,
then-
shut up, I'm mining.
and then this guy has the nerve to start figuring out where like the real money's in pumpkins.
Something like that, yeah.
If memory serves me correctly, they're like among the 3 most valuable things you could grow in Stardew Valley. Like 2 are really easy and one's like super hard, right?
I think the thing with Stardew was because of the seasonal. I haven't played it in a long time. There were like ways of getting like not. I don't think it's actually. I'm not sure if they're actually golden. Like the fruits and vegetables come out gold.
Yeah.
But there's like a weird ranking to things in that game, and you can get like high rank vegetables. So the real trick is just breeding like high rank vegetables, if I'm not mistaken. But the game is also not hard enough that you need to do that. That's just like min maxing Stardew Valley. You can just play the game casually. It's fine. It's not. I've yet to find a farm sim style game where it's like, no, you really gotta try it. You gotta try here. Actually, there's this one. I forget the name of it. It's like Graveyard Keeper, where it's a farm simulator, but you have to take dead bodies and bury them in your graveyard, and you can like harvest them for organs and meat.
And do you get extra points if you bury them properly?
Yes, if you make the graves nice, you get like better, like you get more bonuses and money and stuff. But like you tend to graves instead of like a farm, and that one I remember playing and going, no, like you could min max this and do really well for yourself, like
Okay.
knowing the mechanics of the game.
Can you just like make a 10x10 pit and just dump all the bodies in there?
I think you have to do it by plot. So you can't just throw them all in one place,
Mhm.
but you can throw like bodies in the river. Like if you don't have room for them and you don't have enough money to set up a nice grave, and you're like, oh, and also bodies have value. Like a nice person who had a good life and money, if I'm not mistaken, that's the criteria. Like they were a good person. I think like their wealth or something. Like people's dead bodies have criteria, and putting good bodies in your like graveyard gives you better like benefits. And putting evil people in your graveyard hurts you. So you can be like, oh, this person was a poor and a murderer. I'm going to throw them in the river. I don't want to deal with this. But you throw too many bodies in the river, and now there's a fucking river full of bodies. Town's going to get mad at you. You can also you can take those evil people and you can chop them up and sell their meat to the butcher.
Really?
Yeah. The game was interesting.
This is a goat. Yeah.
Yeah. The game was interesting.
Sour Scroat chimes in with Galga is so dank, love classic arcade stuff. Oh, it's fantastic. Kool-Aider goes Dump in the Dark.
I'm not playing that game.
So
Kool-Aider sent me a game called Dump in the Dark.
What is it about?
I don't know. I'm not playing it.
All right. So Kool-Aider, let us know what Dump in the Dark is about.
Yeah, feel free to type a long message that I'm going to delete after you post it.
Monoxus doesn't want to share with us, so we're here to remind you at twitch.tv/Monoxus. Not only is he not going to look at Dump in the Dark, you know, who knows? Perhaps Dare is correct, and where Mono hates chess, he is a Twitch shooter. Perhaps. Dump in the Dark is a game I play in real life when I go camping. Oh, Dare.
Oh, yeah, let's see. You sent us the Philip Seymour Hoffman scene.
Oh, that's so... Ooh.
Apparently that happens.
The flaming wheelchair.
Oh my god, that's so good.
Oh, Kool-Aider, thank you. Hold on.
But yeah,
I'm sorry, Kool-Aider, but you're...
There's another one that fucking and the head sending us another person being burned apparently on a wheelchair. I don't know what's happening. Stop adding me with posts of people burning alive in wheelchairs.
No, if you have more people in wheelchair footage like this.
Also, that's getting retweeted since we're here. That Dump in the Dark not happening. Oh, that's what I want to check. I want to see how much that game actually goes for because I saw it and went, great, this is useless.
Kool-Aider, thank you. From the bottom.
Don't thank him for this garbage.
From the bottom of...
Oh yeah, there you go. It's like a $2 game on Steam. Real nice of you. Never playing it.
All right. Listen, you're gonna have to excuse me. Can I trouble you for some coffee?
I don't really want to get up, but I guess.
All right. Ladies and jerks, I am troubling Monoxus for some coffee. So he's gonna have to leave me here to tell you. Once upon a time, there were these things called arcade games. Now, I'm going to spare you the exposition, but in a weird sort of way, it was like the original co-op, the original, multiplayer, depending on the game, but still, it was mostly like side-scrolling, or like if you played, like Raiden, or like a shooter and you're in a plane. There was UN Squadron and UN Squadron 2, which was kind of dope, and it was funny, because, in UN Squadron 2, there was a robot pilot, and there's also a penguin pilot. Sounds Lindy. Dude, Sour Scroat, look up UN Squadron 1 and 2. Raiden is probably the OG, vertical shooter. You're in a plane, and you, upgrade your weapons. As opposed to, Darius, Gaiden, Gradius, and R-Type, where, you're going, left to right instead of, down to up. There are a number of really sweet games like that were also on Neo Geo. Although Darius Guyton was good enough to end up getting like a couple of PC releases over the year, and this was even once upon a time before Steam was a thing. So for the most part, it was side-scrolling beat 'em ups, and where like sometimes you were paired with someone, a complete stranger, and if they're a little kid, it's not their fault because oh you're picking up all the health because you're a kid, and oh you picked up the Uzi, have fun with that. Oh you picked up the baseball bat, have fun. And then there are people who know better but don't do better. They're the fucking worst, all right. However, it was really fun to play like something like Final Fight, or even Metal Slug, like the Metal Slug series. You could have zero interest in a side-scrolling shooter. Just play some Metal Slug, and if it's on a console, you have infinite credits. Just fucking play it, all right? You're missing out, and I hope it's not deliberate, all right? So Sour Scroat chimes in with, I'll check it out. Steamy, creamy, Gaben's wallet drain. Metal Slug, hell yeah. Oh, listen. For what it's worth, it is also possible to get delightful things on Steam. Like, I'm kind of a sucker for like Retro City Rampage. I know there was like a DLC or an add-on. I still have to beat it, but it's really fun. You know, Retro City Rampage came out of the original efforts of someone who did. He started a project called Grand Theft Tendo. All right, and he wanted to do a remake of Grand Theft Auto 3, but on like Nintendo graphics. Okay, and that eventually like died. And it's frozen in time. Although there is like a rough demo of it you could play in like Retro City Rampage.
What are we talking about?
Retro City Rampage. It originally started out as someone's endeavor as like Grand Theft Tendo, and then that game was never finished. Oh, that's fine. Fucking unemployment cat fucking dumping in my coffee.
Fucking everywhere. I can't clean this room enough.
So,
I swear to God.
So, I was discussing with the ladies and jerks at home how once upon a time, for arcade games, it was sort of like prototype co-op mode and multiplayer mode, because like take something like Dungeons of Dragons Shadow of Mystara, all right? Like now you're a party. Like what if someone like, hey, like instead of picking, like let's say you pick like a Dwarven Fighter. I'm gonna pick a Dwarven Fighter too. Like on one hand that would be really useful. What are the odds of someone picking like a cleric, and now you're in it to win it? You know?
Yeah.
Like it wasn't guaranteed. Or like let's say you're playing like a side-scrolling beat 'em up, which there are countless, and they're almost all good.
Golden
right?
Axe.
But then they're like, let's say they have health and they're picking up the health, and like, how do you say like, can I get some health without coming off like? And what if they're like, no?
I mean, if you're not playing if you're playing that game and you're not playing with your friends. Like, the fact that you ended up playing with a rando at an arcade kind of sucks.
Well, these things happen at Chinatown Fair after midnight. They used to.
Just saying, like, if you're playing with a rando and they take the health,
but
I think you're
entitled to say what the fuck is your problem.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think you are legally allowed to yell at that person.
You get 2 F-bombs
with an open mouth and like spittle.
You get 2.
Because like that, dude, what the fuck?
Right?
I'm dying over here. You're gonna eat the meat? Don't do that.
However, or just picking up like every like. Did you ever play the Punisher side scroller?
No.
There was a side scrolling beat 'em up game.
I've seen it. I've never played it. You've mentioned it before because you played it a lot growing up.
Yeah. So like. The player 2 was fucking Nick Fury, and player 1 was the Punisher, and it was.
I've definitely seen it though.
The game couldn't even. It was one of the few games where, kind of like in Resident Evil, like there come stretches where they're just giving you things to pick up and use on your enemies.
Yeah, they just handed you shit.
Right, but part of it is because it's like they there's no shortage of enemies to use it on if you keep going right.
Sure.
Right. Then. There came a point in the game where it was just like, all right,
I'm listening. Like talking, I'm investigating something right now.
Now you and everyone on the screen has a gun, and you're like, your movement is now on like a cursor, and you're just like shooting up people instead of side scrolling.
Yeah.
And then you're back to like side scrolling and like throw moves and special moves and health bar, and you break open a crate, and then you find a freshly roasted chicken, a la Capcom tradition.
My phone's been giving me too much shit lately.
That rhymed. I'm a poet and didn't know it.
What I kind of want to look into, which is what I'm going to do right now, is if there's any kind of, okay, phone, whenever you feel like working. Because we have a setup here where we can play games.
I have a text.
For video games. But I've never considered looking into a way for us to both simultaneously play something. And I know you can hook up two controllers,
Yes.
but hooking up two controllers via USB is annoying, and doing it via Bluetooth is even more annoying. So I'm trying to imagine that there may be a way where we can turn a PC into a arcade kind of setup. You know what I mean?
I see. Okay.
Raid Shadow Legend stream? Nah, get the fuck out of here with that shit. Out your mind.
Oh, listen, you're gonna have to excuse me. I am doing internet phone activities. Hey, listen.
I'm doing a Google search to try and figure out if there is a functional way to play two-player games on the PC.
As you stream on Twitch.
Yes, like you see this. You see this $160 two-person fight stick setup?
Yes.
That could be a thing.
That's very true. Although that is mildly terrifying, knowing that it is just a grand, like 1/4 of an arcade cabinet.
But, like, I mean, that's what I'm talking about, though. That's the kind of setup.
Okay.
I wonder if we could use fucking Switch remotes.
You win this round. Give me one moment.
Yeah, we are always on our damn phone. The timing was bad, Loxy, alright? It happens.
Hey, listen, this is just the...
We're talking about arcades, and I have Metal Slug on Steam. We could be playing Metal Slug.
This is true.
But I don't have a second way, unless, like, I think maybe one of us could use...
Well, I would have to get either a gamepad.
Yes.
Or you use a gamepad and I have no qualms using the keyboard.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you can do that. That's the thing.
This is true.
I haven't ever tested it. But that's why I was like, I'm going to look at an arcade's fight stick setup, but make it a two-player fight stick. And then we both have one. And we can just, you know... But then when I can go and I can fucking get an emulator for SNK Chaos, and we can whoop each other's ass at SNK Chaos with fight sticks. And not on fucking controllers.
Okay,
fine. You know what I'm saying?
See, he already has like character tiers in his head that he's going to be using for SNK Chaos.
I'm going to almost strictly play Dimitri.
Oh, Mr.
Dimitri and Gonitz were my go-tos. They were great. I love them. Dimitri, Gonitz. Evil Ken was really good. I like Evil Ken.
They really did earn their spot, though. Like, it is a really good game.
It's amazing.
But it's such a bizarre, like, how do I put this?
New Binding of Isaac DLC. I mean, I'll check that out. I like Binding of Isaac. DSP got unpartnered on Twitch. Who the fuck is DSP?
Darkside Phil, I believe.
Is that a person that I should care about?
No, but he is kind of sort of a repeated lolcow that used to be Mr. Medicare's target of ire and from time on and time off. Although because he just never, on one hand, he was someone who was mediocre and failed upward and like ended up with quite a lucrative career as a streamer, even though he sucks at everything. But now he is, what happened? He got unpartnered on Twitch. Ooh, finally, because like Mr. Medicare.
But that means that he can just go to things like DLive, right?
Perhaps, but I mean, I imagine something like a partnership on Twitch is much more, lucrative, for lack of a better term.
Funny. I mean, like, I know I don't really follow this stuff. It kind of just pops up.
He'll go to DLive and get called the N-word.
Yeah, I mean, I know like that James Charles person, some makeup tutorial whatever person on YouTube. They got demonetized, I believe, for grooming.
For soliciting, yeah. Yeah, how about that?
Who saw that one coming, huh?
But it's weird because, like, why are we elevating a gay guy in makeup who had, like, millions of subscribers, which is so bizarre because how did this even happen? And
you want an honest answer on how that happened? Because this is not a single event. There are a lot of YouTubers, and for anyone in chat or watching this VOD later on somewhere, possibly in the future, God knows, that gets upset at this. There are a lot of YouTubers who peddle garbage products to women. And that's how they become popular. I will also go back on my own statement and say, and probably also gay men and members of the trans community. But there's a general group of people who buy makeup, and their entire careers built on, hey, what's up, got makeup, look makeup, 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 and then someone goes makeup.
I'd like to
And
believe
they
that.
buy the makeup,
I'd like
and
to.
then see you tomorrow for makeup.
I would like to believe that there is also like some sort of crossover in this like makeup domain where it was like skin lightening creams, because that is a multi-zillion-dollar industry around the world.
Sure.
Even in places like India where you have like zillions of brown people.
But you see,
Loxyface chimes in with that would.
I would be interested as well if there was a YouTube channel completely dedicated to like just clown makeup. Because at the very least, that person can start with being like, "Yo, check this out! I got this new makeup, and like, look at the difference it makes in the fun." And like every episode's a new clown face. It'd be amazing. Technically, that channel exists. It's called Jeffree Star. Shots fired.
Oh shit! Really?
Pow, pow, pow. I mean, Jeffree Star's not a clown, but if you ask me, like some of that makeup is very clownish. I would just, I don't know.
Shots fired.
I don't know. You've seen some of these people who parade. We have a fucking thing. The video on our channel, if you look at it, the This Is Normal Now, stare at it.
Yes.
There's a couple people on that which I guarantee are considered like artists or, you know, makeup bloggers, and I was like, you look like a fucking clown, and not in a good way.
Or they're now influencers.
And you look like a fucking clown, and again, not in a good way.
Ladies and jerks, you are watching here
I'm
at
gonna get myself
twitch.tv/Monoxys.
canceled.
All right.
I'm gonna get myself canceled.
The video that Monoxys is referring to is called "This Is Normal Now." Stare at it, and you could find it at youtube.com/718tv. This is normal now. Stare at it. So take a look at it if you're not like pretending to see that you haven't seen it. All right.
But yeah, that's what that person did, if I'm not mistaken. My only frame of reference for this person is that they would. I guess they would do videos with other YouTubers, like collaborations, and through some people I've seen that happen, but like, I don't know. I've never understood the whole like, look at me, I have money to buy the expensive products, and then show them being used, and then sometimes they get caught not using the products. That's a thing that happens. Bought an expensive product because sponsored. And then they put on like another makeup and they're like, wow, look at how great it looks. But like that's not the makeup, because the makeup they like got sponsored by look like shit.
Right.
And then later on it's like, turns out they weren't using the sponsored product and they lied, and now that video is demonetized and they're pulling it. It's like, why would you even do that? Just use the stupid fucking product and be like, wow, it sucks.
It can't be that hard, right?
Putting on makeup well, yes. Putting on makeup and going, wow, look. You have to pull the equivalent of the fucking don't look me, I'm scared sequence.
Although,
wow, look, makeup.
Digital style. Do a digital dancing. Hey, this is fun.
Wow, look, another makeup.
Digital style.
It looks like makeup. You know what I mean? Like,
but herein lies. All right.
Again, unless you do like crazy, like there's some. I mean, I guess this is. I'm dragging the line really far here because there's like, wow, you put makeup on in a video. Okay. Wow, you put makeup on and you're good at it. Wow, you do like professional work with makeup, and like you probably get hired by like celebrities to make them look hotter than they are. Then there's like dumpy Korean girl who turns herself into a model with makeup, and it's like, you're not just good, you're transforming your entire face and you look nothing like yourself. And then there's like special effects, you know what I mean?
Right. Oh, that what irks me is how have you ever seen that South Park episode where someone uploads like a photoshopped version of themselves, like this ugly girl, and then like everyone is infatuated with like the photoshopped version of the ugly girl?
I think
and like the pretty girls on like the cheerleading squad are now like perplexed, and like all the girls start photoshopping themselves except Wendy, and then Wendy like through tears resigns herself to making a Photoshop, and you even see like the boys with like the picture right there, even though they're holding the hand of the girl.
I remember this.
Ay. Okay, we're getting there.
I mean, I would argue we're already there. I saw a post, and I'm not going to say who posted it, but I saw a post. I'm not going to...
One of you better not be horn posting.
I saw a post, and the person had... it was a side-by-side of two people, and the person's post was... what? They look the same. She just has, like, resting bitch face in the other one. And I looked at the two pictures and went, well, the one on the left, mind you, looking at phone, left, right. The one on the left is very clearly hidden behind a filter.
Right.
And that filter looks like it was put on a person wearing makeup. So the person clearly did themselves up and then filtered their face because like her cheekbones were thinner, Like we're talking about like something that removed weight from her face.
Right.
And then the one on the right looked like, oh no, that's just like her. With like poor lighting and
You saw nothing.
And not a filter. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I was dumbfounded by they look the same to me, and I was like, no, they don't.
Well,
one has poor lighting, no makeup, and no filter getting rid of her cheeks, and the other one has makeup, very good lighting, a filter, which makes her cheeks go from like, I mean, I don't really have big puppy cheeks by any measure, but like, imagine if I was like, I look fine, and this looks the same, and the filter did this. And it's like, this is how I always look.
What makes this really precarious, though, is how I'd wanted to just state earlier one thing before talking about people unable to see themselves through the lens of the thing they're holding, which is part of how we got here.
Yes.
But as an uncultured slob, I don't know a thing about makeup. Other than like sometimes when they cry and then they put their face into your chest, it fucks up your shirt forever.
That happened a lot to you?
No, it happened once, and it happened to like a really good like cotton shirt that I can't find anymore. It was just like really comfortable like Hugo Boss shirt. It was the best. Like it was.
I'm glad that you're like, well, you have a point of reference in your life where it's like, I remember one time this bitch with bad makeup on was like really upset. I called her a bitch. Maybe you loved her. Maybe she was like your best friend. I don't know. But like someone cried into my fucking shirt and ruined it.
So that,
although I imagine that the memory goes back to the crying into the shirt means you didn't really care too much. Because like the memory is still like, God, that shirt was nice.
It was a great shirt.
Such an amazing shirt. Too bad she cried all over it and had way too much eye makeup on it. And it just fucking smudged.
It was like the imprint of a psychic beast.
That's a lot of makeup, though.
People don't know what they're doing in their early 20s, okay? Especially with makeup.
I'll take your word for it.
Unless you're among people who wear makeup all the fucking time. What I'd wanted to bring up is how, like, all right, at some point, because I imagine some makeup is naturally occurring, the ingredients and whatnot, but long term,
there's like organic makeup.
but like I imagine like long-term use of makeup would eventually start to like erode the skin, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be doing some
like
sort
chemical damage, basically?
Right. There has to be some sort of long-term damage of putting this thing like.
And then there's a makeup to fix the damage of the makeup.
Right. And so you're in this never-ending cycle of like grease and degrease your skin.
Wow, look at makeup. Yes. Why do you think these makeup channels can survive? Because every fucking day a company puts out the same exact thing over and over again, or they put out what the other company put out the week before that, and then they put out the thing that they put the weekend before that, but with a different name. Like, we live in a world where you can get products, and there are hundreds and thousands of versions of the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And they're priced differently because a different person's name is on it.
Well, part of it also is because they're coming from different countries as well.
Yeah, but the point is, like, there's so much of the same fucking stuff. I understand if there's a vast quality difference, because that does exist.
From sea to shining sea.
Like, massive quality differences, I get it. That's like buying, I imagine, your eyeliner at the Rite Aid versus getting an eyeliner from an actual industry store that, you know, puts work into what they make.
You mean getting your lipstick from CVS?
Yes.
As opposed to getting your lipstick from, like, one of those high-end boutiques in the city that have nothing but like makeup.
Yes.
And there are like,
but then there are also 30 high-end boutiques, and they all have the same color red lipstick. In fact, they probably have multiple versions of the same color red lipstick from multiple different companies, and they all have other varieties and different ones. Why is there so much? Other than branding. I understand branding is the only other thing where it's like, I have no say on that because people fall victim to marketing all the time.
Well,
and if it's like, hey, look, would you like to buy this black lighter? And you're like, I don't want the black lighter. And it's like, what if I sold you the black lighter that's sponsored by No Country for Old Men? And you'd be like, I want the black lighter now. Give me one that says No Country for Old Men. Is it official? How much more is it? It's like $5 more. Well, I want it now.
Is there the Anton Only lighter?
Like there's the Anton Only lighter.
So now
it's $2 more, I guess. So branding, I get.
So, but imagine the person who takes a step back, and what Monoxis just unfolded was like, think of like the Jay-Z Bic lighter. Like, imagine how many Bic lighters would fly off the shelf, or like the Kanye Bic lighter.
Yeah.
Or like
Kanye's Bic lighter, we made a cloth and would explode when you use it,
and it would sell like hotcakes.
And it would be like $50, and you could never use it because it would just burn itself.
But isn't that the whole point of like his clothing line, where like take like a plain white T-shirt? It's just a plain. Remember when back in the day? Oh, this is just like a regular old polo top, but it has like the polo guy on the horse logo, which that
Yeah.
justifies this being 3 times more expensive than normal.
Brand, yeah.
Or like, oh, this is like Tommy Hilfiger.
Kanye had some dope religious wear that he came up with that looked atrocious, and it looked like I don't know how to explain it. You'd have to look it up. Kanye came out with like a line of just religious wear, and it looked terrible. And I'm sure it sold for way too much money.
Can you describe it?
I mean, I don't want to describe it. I'm like,
chat, if you have any idea what Monoxus is discussing, can you please describe it to me, because I don't have the faintest dream of. I live in a bunker with under a rock with Wi-Fi.
But you mentioned Kanye and his clothes, and now I have to find one.
So, Cool-Later chimes in with like nootropic YouTubers. Well, you're not wrong. You know, that does happen to be and then of course this nootropic YouTuber and all of the homies of said nootropic YouTuber are all like, the fucking YouTube nootropics thing is really good, and then they end up on one another's podcast and their ordeals and their circles, and then of course it just, well, why wouldn't you, Cool-Later, if you were in a position to do that? Oh boy. Although, give him props for the right sleeve having it and not the left sleeve.
Props for like making a T-shirt that looks like you put it through a printer to make it.
That right, and
like you look like you're selling junk on the street, and it's just like, here you go. I think a lot of people got fooled into the idea that what you buy represents you. Yo, Apple products, what's up?
Listen, what irked me about Apple is how, for starters, only Apple can fix Apple, okay? And the Apple stores...
That's not true. It's what they believe.
Well, once you jailbreak something, you can't get it back, right? Like,
depending on if the store's a piece of shit, yeah. Like Apple.
All right.
Please, Twitch, don't come down on me for shitting on Apple. I don't like when we shit on people.
If memory serves me correctly,
and
though...
since Apple's a corporation, they're technically a people.
If memory serves me correctly, though, Apple, they used to be 24/7.
Were they?
Yeah.
I've never owned an Apple product outside of a laptop that I got
the Apple stores.
Yeah.
They used to be 24/7, and there's one in Manhattan, and even though it's in this like really, really ritzy part of like Midtown, like it's kind of sort of away from Midtown near like Lincoln Center, that really nice ritzy, like, well, it is a ritzy area, not the ritzy area, but near there is like, there's an Apple store. There are other Apple stores. This is just in the nicest, and it happens to be 24 fucking like hours on. Yeah. It's just like small homeless encampments in and outside the store, even though like 1 block away is like a condo that sold more for like what some people make in their lifetime. It's scary. So they're not as bad as the opium dens of Starbucks bathrooms.
Sure.
But the 24-hour Apple stores were like a special brand of like, oh, you're like pseudo Skid Row.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I can also see if that was a regular occurrence when they stopped being 24/7.
Yeah, there's two.
To not have that kind of thing happen.
Oh, that would only be looking past stage 1 thinking, Monoxus. How dare they?
I'm just saying, it's very possible. I don't know. Branding is fucking weird. People fall for that shit all the time. But, you know.
However, on one hand, Apple is... it is a sign of conspicuous consumption up to a degree. However, it should be noted that like some people who work in media and multimedia do say that like, you know, Mac is better for like video and music.
Well, I mean, I'm not judging the product here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm judging my judgment is not on Apple as a company making electronics. My judgment is on the people that think that having an Apple product means something outside of you paid too much for something that something else can do.
Right. Well, okay.
There's like, if you have the kind of money to be like, I'm just going to buy I'm going to buy the $1,000 Apple computer stand. Okay. Did you need to though? Like,
but there's also like the shadow earplugs that cost mad money. Well, part of it is because yes, it is a status symbol, but like
yeah.
On the other hand, like I'd like to imagine like isn't like Beats by Dre a really good like set of headphones, even though it's like
no, if I remember correctly, and this is going off of one thing I saw. I watched a video where a gentleman purchased a pair of Beats, and he was a music engineer, and he was good. He was tech savvy. And he basically broke the Beats down, like tore them apart piece by piece, and showed what makes a pair of Beats headphones. And then I remember he compared the price of what they were sold for, and versus how much he, if he wanted to, could make a pair of Beats headphones, with the exception of having the labeled Beats style, because like in order to have that made, you have to go through the company.
Mhm.
But he was like, from a purely technical standpoint, Beats headphones are no better than like some generic brand $50 headphones.
Okay.
Like the tech that
So-
goes inside of them
So
is the same as some shit you can get from like Sony for cheap.
so from a 1v1 perspective to recreate the headphones.
To recreate them without having the branding, like
Mhm.
he'd have to make his own like, connective pieces, but like just the internal parts, the part that plays the music,
Yeah.
and then covering it in just like a cheap shell. He was like, I could probably make these for like $50. And they cost hundreds and hundreds of dollars.
Wow.
He just wouldn't have the branding and the packaging.
But I love things like that like sort of, well, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, there you go. They add metal weights to Beats to make them seem more substantial.
Like, thank you.
But
Thank
if
you,
LeBron
brother.
puts them on and says, buy the Beats,
People buy the beats.
people buy the Beats.
I mean, it's birds fly, grass grows, fish swim, and people buy the beats. All right.
I'll take it.
I wanted to chime in real quickly about like arcade games though.
Great. Now Caraman's going to have to edit around us talking about makeup.
Well, listen,
Have fun.
cameraman is just gonna have to. I don't know what he's gonna have to do with that weight. He can't you can't use makeup to hide weight unless you're taking pictures of yourself from MySpace angles.
He's going to the fucking track.
You know what? He deserves it.
He's going to the track. I don't appreciate him putting on all that weight.
Although, what is your person? What you're taking this person on?
It's because of how he said it.
Okay.
It's quarantine weight. Shut up. That's not real. You got fat.
Are you just mildly upset that cameraman bought into the hype?
I'm mad that he's using he's using fake terms to justify that he got fat. If you're gonna get fat, just get fat and be like, yo, I'm lazy and I don't eat good. I got fat. It's quarantine weight. I've been inside all day. Yeah, you're right. So because you were locked inside, you couldn't like jump rope, do jumping jacks, push up crunches, and not eat 7 meals a day.
This is true.
Maybe you don't put a whole bottle of rum down every other day.
Maybe. Or
No, just Sorry, John Woo, you can't use my name like that. I don't like it. I don't know why.
I don't know why Twitch chat is censoring everyone invoking Monoxis's name.
I don't know. Just call me Muno. It's fine.
Because John Woo chimes in with Monoxis speaking the truth, and evidently, they censored him because they spoke the truth.
Probably.
But one last thing, in regards to arcades, one of the best things is when you're playing like a 4-player game, like Turtles in Time, like the X-Men arcade game.
Yes.
There was one where it was like Spider-Man, Hawkeye, Captain America, and Namor, I think, and like that was one, but it was like a 4-player game. All
Like an
right,
Avengers kind
So-
of game?
kind of like that was like Namor. No, that was Iron Man, Captain America,
Was it Hawkeye?
Hawkeye,
Yeah.
and Vision.
I think it was Vision. Hold on. It was on Super Nintendo too, that game. Avengers, we need your help.
And the very first boss, the fucking whirlwind guy.
Yeah.
And he's got the fucking money bag,
Mhm.
the spinning prick.
There was an arcade version of that? I've never seen it.
There was an arcade version of that.
That
All
sounds
right.
amazing.
So like games like that were delightful because it's like, well, number one, like there were hardly. It was just survive and get to the boss, and then you get 100 health again. Like that was it. That was
And then don't die.
such a good game.
Don't die to bullshit mechanics.
Such a good game. So, next on the docket, well, I would like to discuss memes and sound like an old man, but there's also mental health.
Well, you want to talk. All right. So when you say you want to talk about memes and mental health, what do you mean? What do you want to talk about that made
Well-
those things feel like that made those the things that you want to talk about today?
Well, okay.
Because when I was like, we got to title this because people are gonna for the people who watch us regularly, we don't need to title things. It's for anyone who's like just browsing and it's like, oh, what are these jerks talking about? Well, there you go. That's what we're gonna try and talk about today. We'll probably get off topic like we did about makeup.
Okay.
But
So,
the point is,
but it's really
it came from somewhere.
it's really hard to boil down exactly beyond one word. Where let's say you want to discuss like mental health. So I had originally brought it up because I was like, at what point did people start throwing out like, "Hey, I'm not 100% mentally healthy" out there like it's part of their personality? Like in the same way,
Oh yeah,
like
yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
like and it's as if like this excuses any behavior I have because I have like neuroatypical in my Twitter profile. So
People
like-
who have ADHD being loud and obnoxious, and then being like, "Sorry, I have ADHD." This is part of my personality. I'm loud and annoying.
It's like that SNL sketch where I think it's Horatio Sands who keeps screaming, "A bear ate my parents," and like he's peeing in a pot. He throws a fucking sofa through like a window, like a patio, like sliding window, like the top to bottom. Like, and every time he does something egregious, he's like, "A bear ate my parents."
Sure.
It's like that.
I also think like as far as putting it in bios,
that is what I wanted to discuss.
I think that stems from the same place as people, the same people who put every other fucking dumb thing about them in their bio. Like instead of writing a bio, you know,
Right.
you like, I don't know, here's where I come from, here's what I'm about, this is what I do, here are the things that I'm interested in. If you'd like to know more about me, like let's talk about this kind of stuff. Instead, they have, and funny enough, the very same people who 10 years ago, maybe more, because I remember growing up having to deal with this, the whole like the titles, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
how that was a big thing. Like don't give people titles. Don't put people in boxes. Don't label them. No one liked labels and titles and being generalized about.
Because growing up, you would sometimes hear things like labels disable.
Yeah.
And
So like there was a big wave of don't label people and don't
Right.
generalize people's identities down to like buzzword catchphrase stuff. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Now people's profiles are label with a symbol, followed by label with a symbol, followed by label with a symbol,
hashtag.
label, symbol, and then blah 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 blah. But they start with here are all my labels.
Mhm.
But I think that's less of a it's more like signaling. You know what I mean?
Part of it is so it could identify within its like tribe.
That's what I'm saying. It's
so-
a signal to those who are looking for label.
So that's what I discuss when I mean mental illness. All right. And on the other hand, now we have memes, and what I meant in terms of memes. Now hang on. Twitch chat chimes in with Kool-Aider goes, "My bio is my business email, simple as." Ah, yes, you could look it up on your own. Kool-Aider
Uh-oh.
goes,
Uh-oh. I'm fucking it up.
Kool-Aider.
I'm fucking it up. Why is this not working?
Well, listen, ladies and jerks, Monoxus did fuck up Twitch chat, so I can't see it entirely. So.
I'm fucking up the Twitch chat, guys. You have to deal with it for a second.
All right, even though I was in the middle of something.
Shut up. I'm fucking it up.
All right, so if you're live watching us, hoy y el presente, estamos
I just
vivo
wanted a-
aquí en
I wanted a
twitch.tv/Monoxus.
Bigger section of Twitch chat.
Okay, that works.
So it'll be this little thing.
So, Kool-Aider goes, "My bio is my business email, simple as." John Woo goes, "The Kool-Aider confirmed to be Fatball Dracula." Dareline goes, "My bio on Twitter is great." Yes, it is. Y'all let me down for. Y'all let me down. You gotta find y'all let me down. Don't let him down. John Woo goes, "I'm on to you, sir. I know how you spoke to Nancy. We want to know the truth." We're shit post. So listen. In terms of memes, what I wanted to discuss is it's not to say that it is indicative of how good the source material is in terms of like, oh, like really good memes come from X, Y, or Z. But how is it that like, well, general consensus is The Sopranos is one of the best shows on TV.
I've never seen it.
All right. Yet almost all the memes are like, these are some really good memes. Not
Okay.
all of them. All right.
I usually see memes of things before I actually see the thing.
Or like, think of the countless memes of like The Simpsons or like SpongeBob for people who've never seen The Simpsons or SpongeBob.
And they're still relevant.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I'm not trying. Well, perhaps. Like, what is it about the source material that perhaps it's good enough to endure as a meme because it breaks containment, it morphs into other things, and so forth. So, even something like Seinfeld, there are people who were not even born when that was on the air, who are now encyclopedic knowledge about that TV show and use memes and post memes about it, and a lot of it kind of aged pretty well.
Sure.
So, like King of the Hill, for example. Think of the number of people who have ended up watching King of the Hill simply because it was like, oh, this is a really good reaction pick.
Yeah, that's fair.
So
I'm sure there's plenty of stuff like that.
So, is there a correlation between like the quality of the original content and the fact that it is a very easily memeable thing that allows itself to be propagated?
I would assume so.
Because unless it is unless it is done astroturfed or through actual ground up, how often do memes not have to? Well, like they propagate themselves.
Yes.
So, without a push, like it either propagates itself or it dies.
Yeah.
So, it ends up, how do I put it? Like even movies, even like even music videos, just like bits of something that endure forever. So the point I'm trying to make is is there a correlation between, like, let's say, all these enduring like TV shows and movies that memes exist of and used out of context wildly, and it's going to be like that forever?
Yeah.
Is there a correlation between its memetics?
There has to be, otherwise they
its
wouldn't
source material.
They wouldn't stick as hard.
Mm-hmm.
But that could also technically be nostalgia, because there are people who see the meme and then go, "Okay, I get it," and then there are people who see it and they know what it's from and they know what it's referencing and they know why it's being used and they really get it. But then there are also memes that come from fucking nowhere. Like, why has Wojak survived as long as it has? It comes from nothing. It was made.
Right.
To my knowledge, unless someone knows where like Wojak came from.
Someone in a Polish image board, I think it might be. I could be wrong.
Because you have things like Pepe. Pepe came from like children's books, I believe.
If memory serves me correctly, Pepe came from that there was a comic author or a webcomic author.
Yeah, or as a comic, yeah.
And where he goes to the bathroom and like he pulls his pants all the way down when he's taking a piss in front of the urinal.
Yeah.
And like the person he's playing video games with notices this, and then he brings this up, and he's like, "Yeah, feels good, man," and that's where that comes from.
Something like that,
right? So Pepe comes from that series of like that frog.
So
is Pepe.
Take Pepe as another example. So I guess to go against,
but
the
then
idea
again, like that's
is the source, the material, is the source the reason for it? Pepe, I don't think so, because
yeah.
like I don't think anybody cared about the fucking source.
And then Pepe evolved into like Groiper and Apu, and it became this source material for this.
It became the rare Pepe. Like, it's lived on well beyond that. It became the symbol of a bunch of right-leaning political people during the 2016 election to meme a president into existence using magic.
Which kind of did happen. Oh, so John Woo chimes in with Pepe is a sick cunt. John Woo chiming in like he's from fucking Brisbane, Australia. Now hang on. Twitch chat chimes in with Vivtex goes by those nonsense tweets are nonsense. Listen, that's the correlation does imply causation. There goes memeable isn't really something you can force. Marketers try eat spicy goodness like a boss, like Wendy's, but good memes are generally grassroots and not made for the purpose to sell shit. Exactly. That is an excellent point, Dare. Pepe came from a webcomic. Yes, the feels good man. The attaboy, not cool later. So yes, that is the origin of Pepe.
Right. Well, as far as like, yeah, it's not something you can force at all. I think we had a video we kind of talked about that.
Meme and troll.
Yeah, how like you can't make it happen. It has to happen on its own. Like it has to find its place and grow.
Right.
You can't just make it happen.
Because it's used by people that have to get it through by repetition.
Yes.
As opposed to this thing that propagates itself in the wild.
What I think you're talking more about is, so something like Pepe is not an exception. It's just like, that's something...
because like that webcomic's like subpar. Like,
yeah, no one cared about the subcomic, but Pepe lived on forever. And then there's things like Wojak, which came from someone drawing it, I assume. And then it gained its own life. You know what I mean? But then take things like Milhouse is not a meme and all of the SpongeBob stuff. Would it be as good if the source material sucked?
Right.
Right? Like that's more what you're leaning into?
Right.
Because
clearly there are exceptions like Pepe.
Yes. Well, I was going to say, with using Pepe and Wojak as the other thing, if SpongeBob sucked, but those stills still existed, right? Mm-hmm. Like, let's say the SpongeBob show was poorly voice acted, and the jokes were like mistimed, and it somehow managed to still survive long enough to get some of these memes out.
Okay.
Like the fucking like mocking SpongeBob thing, even without a good show behind it, and then you put that and the lettering is all fucked up, you would look at that and go, "Oh, I get this."
Or like the caveman SpongeBob.
Yeah, like some things from that show, but I also still think the fact that the show is amazing and hilarious, and you see it and go, I get what I know what this is. Like that definitely helps.
Right.
I think SpongeBob might be a weird one just because it's so good on its own, and then the memes are just as good,
if not better.
Yeah, sometimes. But I think because there are so many memes.
I really like dancing SpongeBob.
Yeah. Because some memes just become their own thing anyway.
And I think he's wearing a hat when he does it.
I'm not sure. Oh yeah, like is it like when he's wearing like the big hat?
Yes.
I think so. That's what you're talking about.
Good times. So
The artist killed Pepe in his comics and tried to stop him from using the meme because that's gonna fucking work. Pepe becomes its own source content despite the source image. SpongeBob Pepe pants.
so that is what I mean by like, all right, so that network and that basket of worms and that kettle of fish, so it's like memes or mental health.
Yeah. Well, I feel like the memes conversation, like, that is so much. I think I already explained my point of view on that one. It's like it's so. All right, I feel like no, the original source doesn't have to be good. Clearly, because memes exist from terrible sources.
Well, that kind of answers my question then.
Yeah, so I'm like, I don't think it's much of a conversation.
Okay, I just had a question. My whole deal was I wanted to know if there is like correlation and causation for. Does the thing have to be good for memes to be good and enduring and propagating themselves out there in the wild? So evidently, this is not an across the board ordeal. There are exceptions to almost everything.
Yeah,
And
I don't think you can boil
so
it down to that.
so
simple,
rather than something like King of the Hill or Space Ghost Coast to Coast or The Simpsons or even Star Trek: The Next Generation, rather than that. It's a fucking webcomic. Feels good, man. That's that.
Yeah.
All right. So that.
I think it only needs to carry a message well. That's fair.
So all right, you're not wrong.
Although, like I said, I don't know for sure. I'm sure there's a relationship between why SpongeBob means perseveres so well and why like SpongeBob being either like a nostalgic show or a good show. The fact that a generation of adults, ourselves included, and a generation of kids also can see those memes and go, I get it. And then there are like adults that are older than us, like parents who had kids who watched it, who would go, I get it.
I get the feeling that like there are going to be stretches of SpongeBob that have aged like a fine wine. I don't know what the cutoff rate is because I know not all of them are good.
Doodlebob is going to be the high watermark for me.
Really?
Fuck it, that was a great episode.
All right.
I love Doodlebob.
Even the simple ones where it's like the driving road test, like even the simple ones are too like it. At one point, there's like madness and stress and the music, and then just cut to like SpongeBob going, and it's like a close up like this, and then back to the fucking like.
Also, like the jellyfish, like one of the early episodes, the jellyfish dance party. That's gonna live on forever.
Occasionally, with like actual and then like real time choppy like animation background, it was too. Yeah. It was too.
The episode where they're looking for, or they're like, what's it called? Where they're looking. I forgot that what happened in the episode, but they're looking at each other, and it's like Patrick sees SpongeBob as a shadowy figure. It's like, I think I found him. He's just standing there menacingly. Like that generation of SpongeBob is not going away. It's just good.
Or even that one where he's like the one like fish is eating a burger and he overhears something like unpleasant.
There's so much of that shit. Fucking, I like. Oh god, I saw a meme of that. Like someone took Flats the flounder, or like the no pickles like fish, and it was like her. He needs to be 6'5", muscular, have a good job, or like yeah, and then it shows her, and it's Flats with a wig on. And I was like, why Flats now? Like Flats is being used for this shit, but like, but I get it.
Right.
It makes sense.
Right.
So meanwhile in chat. For me to be good, the source of medic property, as manipulated by the medic content original create, has to be very solid. Everything else is layers on top for sure. SpongeBob memes work because there's a large audience that sells. Yeah, that's true. It's safe and easy to spread since all Americans online have seen it to get it. The best episode is the pizza delivery episode. The Rock. The Pioneer Rock.
Oh boy.
The Krusty Krab pizza.
Love the Pretty Patty episode.
Yeah, Pretty Patties is amazing too. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of good episodes of old SpongeBob.
Listen, send because I haven't seen that many episodes, honestly. I've only seen a few, but I've never been disappointed.
Yeah, see the rock he drives. He drives a rock.
The Pretty Patty, the pizza delivery episode.
Where's my drink? Yeah, there's a I mean.
I'm curious where chocolate comes from.
That's the chocolate. That guy, like they're just selling chocolate. That's the episode. They're selling chocolate. Chocolate! Chocolate!
And he just loses his shit.
He just wants to buy some chocolate. Yeah, the movie's pretty good. Yeah, a lot of the early stuff is great. It doesn't. I mean, there's some stuff that's like okay in the later seasons of it, but I feel like that. I don't know. A change of writers, I'm pretty sure, happened as well. Like
Right.
most things, like
Much like The Simpsons.
yeah, different teams, so it's a different style, different jokes. Some of it still sticks, some of it doesn't. Yeah, whatever. It's what happens.
So, ladies and jerks, there you have it. So now to the mental health arc of the evening.
Yeah.
And we really would like to keep it not so in depth, but more in terms of, people who utilize things they identify themselves with that are mentally unwell and use it as a crutch for online behavior because it makes them irreproachable. It's sort of like a very ugly, bizarre life hack. Kind of.
Sure. It's also a defense mechanism to justify their behavior.
Right.
But
even before it happens.
Yeah, but like that's like a lot of these acceptance movements, and this is where I fall with certain social movements in general. There's a movement to accept the behavior regardless of if it's good or bad, because like the representation of the community is more important than the negative outlook.
Mm-hmm.
We've mentioned, like, we were on Lev's podcast, and like furries got brought up,
right?
And in the crossfire, I was just like, "Fuck it," like Yif and Hell, and it was like, "Yeah, but I have friends who are furries," and it's like, "Yeah, but furries also have a lot of association with them that's negative." And just because
they're the only one explicitly tied to X, Y, and Z, which is why.
But the whole reason why I even bring it up is because the bringing up of people being like, this label must be accepted and protected, because reasons. And for the most part, you may be right. That you should protect people who are being, like, I don't know, spit on and beaten and murdered.
Well, if they're being persecuted and singled out,
then yes. But big but, on my opinion, on my side of this, protect the community, but not at the cost of losing criticisms of the negative aspects of the community. You can still protect an entire community of people, and when there's a bad person in it, you criticize them, you demonize them. You pull the thorn.
But then becomes that's a large hurdle for a lot of places.
It's a large hurdle for any movement that wants to just go, you must accept label. And those people, like you mentioned, with the thing in their bio, they're using that label because they know by labeling themselves as one of those communities, it's like, this is a protected community now. It's like shooting a bald eagle. You can't.
This is like shooting the rare albino horned aardvark.
You slap a bunch of protected community labels on yourself, and whether or not it's a globally or nationally where you live recognized protected label, it's part of a community. And if someone goes, hey, fuck you, you did X, now the labels that they have on them, those communities are going to show up in full effect to defend them without context. They don't even need to know if what was said was true. You're being oppressed by someone's talking shit in your direction.
And then before you know it, like, people's group chats and cavalries come to the rescue. And then people get mobbed and swarmed, and then it's like a battle royale, and fucking ugly quote tweets and replies, and people blocking other people, and before you know, and it's not even lunchtime yet.
Right.
It just these things just happen.
So that was a little tangent of me, like,
you mean persecuted?
That's where I fall.
Oh dear!
But I think you mean to talk more about the ones who go like bipolar, depressed, anxious, schizo. Like, you're not talking about like the other groups. You're talking about the ones who use mental illness as a label.
ADHD.
Yeah.
Or like
I feel like I had to preface this conversation with, this is how I see it.
Low affective schizo disorder, and it's like, why are you so yes. Does that mean when you're not making sense to me, I just have to read in your bio, oh, that's why,
and this is why, and then these and because I know someone who has stuff like that.
But that exercise a certain amount of judgment, knowing that, you see,
so I have one,
because then you're Himmler McStalin for bringing this up in the first place. All right.
I know one person, in my own regularly visited social circle, that does have multiple mental health disorders, and they are very aware of them. They are medicated, for one, and the medication kicks their ass, which is why it's like a nighttime take it, but go to bed, because it's gonna fuck you up. But then, like, residually, it carries it to most of the rest of the day. And they see a therapist because they have to handle this shit. And at the very least, they're nice enough that like we can be hanging out and we're talking, and then the fucking, like they have the condition and now they're yelling about something, and I'll stop and look at them and they'll go, sorry. Like they're aware that like they got very energetic and loud, and then they're like, my bad. I'm like, thank you. Because you were just yelling at me.
Okay.
And we were having a regular conversation, like a back and forth, and you got very into it, which I love. Like passionate conversation is fantastic. But you went from like passionate I feel about this to like you're driving right now and you're not paying attention to the road and you're yelling at me. And I'm like, drive and lower your voice. And then they go, sorry. But there are people that if I was next to them and I was like, focus on the road, lower your voice, please, they would now be staring like at me like I am at you, holding the wheel, and being like, what the fuck did you say to me? How dare you? You know I have blah 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 blah. I can't just focus, please. Yeah, like, so there are people that would go, ah,
And that right.
what'd you say?
And that's exactly how some.
You know I'm blah 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 blah. I can't just turn it off, and it's like, so that's what you're talking about?
I'd like them to Twitter. What do you think I'm doing here? Like, replying to every single person who left a comment. Like, ay Dios mío.
Why are you pissing on the floor? Fuck you! I'm bipolar.
I'm schizoaffective.
Don't judge me.
I'm neuroatypical. And then like they make race cars out of their own poop. Like,
I mean, I've never seen it that bad, but jeez. I don't get it though. I've always felt like, because mental health, like
these jerks.
health disorders in general, is not something that you should be public about.
Right.
It's not a badge of honor to have a health condition, whether it be mental or physical, unless you're using it like you had a disorder or a problem, and now you're like poster child for
Right.
how to get better.
What if you're a spokesperson? What if you're...
Or even if you're just like you're outspoken because someone is misinformed. That's a different story.
Mm-hmm.
But well, I'm anxious and depressed and bipolar, and I live my life the way I want to because of that, and like I don't see a doctor, and I'm not medicated because I don't believe in that, and I just self-medicate. So now not only am I a schizo, bipolar, ADHD, anxious person, I'm also fucking stoned all the time. And it's like, oh, well, that's not helping the problem, is it? I'm sure they exist. Also, you can be all those things and then be like, hey, what's up? I like video games and movies. My favorite movie is blank, and reading books is fun. And you know what? I've got a dog, and I love my dog. And this is what I do for a living. It's my career, and I'm very passionate about it. And I'm 420 friendly. What's up? Legalize it if you're in a place where it's not. But instead, there's ADHD, bipolar, and it's like, maybe when I meet you, I can go, are you okay? And you're like, oh, I'm sorry, I have a couple of disorders. Okay. But like, why are you opening with like, I'm sick?
And on there, but and it's not so much a badge of honor as it is a badge of
It's a protective label. When I act out, you can't judge me.
And it's fun.
Oh man, I'm gonna change all my bios, and I'm gonna put like in big, bold, bubbly, like, what would be better? Would it be like, would brown be good? Like alcoholic. So like I can go to public events, like I can go to someone's like baby shower and just be trashed.
I could.
And if they're like, Monoxus, why did you drink so much whiskey? It's a baby shower. And I'm like, shut up, I'm an alcoholic. You know that. Don't judge me.
How am I taking away from your good time?
You go ahead and enjoy your baby or whatever. I'm here to see the family. You drank 2 bottles of whiskey already. I'm an alcoholic. Like, is that okay?
And he's just over in the corner. Just not in anybody's way of fucking taking.
I'm gonna put depression, anxiety, alcoholism in my bio,
and just angrily, drunkenly respond to every single person that replies.
Monoxus, you can't just blame everything on your alcoholism. Well, now you're making me depressed. Are you happy?
Even
now, I need more alcohol. You did this. Can I be that person? Can I do that too? I already told you I'm waiting for the trans movement to get full power.
I'm wondering,
so I can go to ladies' night on Wednesdays, and I'm gonna show up with like a little like the most feminine like purse I can find, but like normal, like just completely normal. And then when I show up, put that on the table and start ordering drinks and wait until they give me my bill, and then be like, "Excuse me, it's ladies' night," and get half off drinks. Use the shit out of that.
You heard it here first.
And if I can do that with my bios too, my God, great.
Welcome to it's ladies' night is every night if you're Monoxus.
I'm just, senior discounts. Oh, are you ageist now all of a sudden? I identify as an elderly person. I feel old inside.
I'm just old and tired all the time.
And then just start bitching and knocking things over. Show up with a cane.
Although I was entertaining the idea of a Monoxus account where it's just like he's just like drinking himself to death, and he's got like 500,000 followers, and he's just like woke up, kicked some bitch out, drank some wine. What's up, assholes? And it's like a wreck of a bedroom. It looks like a fucking war zone. Like
starting tomorrow,
and he's got like thousands of likes.
Starting tomorrow, Monoxus on Twitter is just gonna be. His angry, constantly drunk account. That's it. It's happening. And I'm going to put, like, anxiety, depression, alcoholism in the bio. And just, like, I'm going to start jumping into, like, threads, just angry, yelling at people.
I'll tell it'll be unrelated. I'll tell you what's wrong with the Ford administration.
Off on tangent. I'm doing it. That's it. As of tomorrow, I'm officially the Twitter's getting used for better purpose. Drunk ranting when I'm not actually drunk. And doubling down on the drunk ranting when I am drunk.
Eventually, the Monoxus account. Oh, hang on. Kool-Aid chimes in with, he turns into the Bart Simpson version of a rock star where Milhouse says he's changed and Bart throws a bottle of Jack Daniels at him and tells him to slag off. That's true. You've changed, Bart. You used to be about the music. Slag off. Oh, it's so good. Eventually, Monoxus just becomes like...
Fuck, I've got my work cut out for me now. I gotta start practicing my, like, slurred rants.
Monoxus is gonna become, like, one of the most popular, like, accounts in the world because he's just, like, slowly drinking himself to death, even though, like... He's gonna they're like, Corona's gonna approach him and they're gonna be like, do you want to drink your death with our beer? And he's like, do I have to pay anything? No. And he's like, do I get to sign anything for money? Yes, right here. And he was like, that's a lot of money, I'm gonna take it. So then, like, he's just drinking Corona on top of whatever else he was drinking. Like, now he's got money to spend, so now he's in like a penthouse, but it looks like a war zone, and he's like, hey guys, what's up? And like he's in Macau, and there's like sleeping hookers and like a tiger over there. And like, why are there 7 slot machines piled up on one another in the corner?
You have indirectly started a social experiment for me. I am now going to fully take advantage of being abusive and annoying and angry on Twitter. But I'm gonna use my bio as my defense mechanism.
He just wakes up in different parts of the world going like, hey, what's up, guys? And then like even like celebrities and verified people will be like, what's going on, dude? Like,
we're gonna see how long it takes before I start getting like the shadow bans, just being like drunk and angry on Twitter.
Monoxus just ends up becoming an account of like there's this movie called The Lost Weekend, and it's about like this writer who like he's on the wagon and then he's off the wagon. Then he's back on the wagon at the end.
Best part is,
as opposed to like leaving Las Vegas, where it's just Nick Cage off the wagon, down the hill.
The only ones who will know that'll be in on it is Chat. Chat will be in on the joke.
All right, I
don't rat me out, Chat.
No, but honestly, you should don't tempt it where you just don't, because they will search suggestion ban you. And
I know the rules.
I hope you do.
I do. I know where the lines can get crossed. The thing is, a drunken rant can be about anything. It can be completely out of context.
You show up to like a fucking a gender and sex like conversation, and you start screaming about like geometry and hash browns.
Yeah, people talking about gender and sex.
Listen,
you know what deserves more credit? Castlevania Symphony of the Night game. Yeah, everyone's always saying Super Metroid's the best of them, and I think Castlevania needs some representation in the trans community. So all of you need to stop talking about the Super Metroid with the fucking female and start talking about the game where they can turn into like bats and shit. That's the community. They just turn wherever the fuck they want.
Reported for butthurt. That's exactly what would happen. Reported for like angry bitter tears, and then when you go back because of notifications, like he clicks on it, and then it's like this account you can no longer see it because you're blocked. Like,
maybe we'll see. I'll have to start regularly checking myself to see if I'm getting like fucking things. I'll start small.
Getting angrily retweeted by people who block them.
Oh, I'm gonna change the bio. I'm not doing it tonight because I'm lazy and I have a lot of things to do
Change your
tomorrow.
bio to gain advantage for every argument.
Oh my god, that's not a bad idea though. Like,
Oh my
just
sweet,
constantly change it.
oh my sweet Jesus.
I mean, how many labels can I fit in a Twitter
That's
bio,
like
though?
that is like fucking picking Go-Go in Final Fantasy 3. Just fucking change your bio to gain advantage for every argument. That is fucking mega slick.
And now I have to make a folder because I want to make the label look stupid. Like I don't want it to be like text. I'm sure there's a way I can insert like things into Twitter's like text like algorithm and it'll come out like bold letters or some shit.
Right.
So I gotta make a file now on my phone so I can just have the labels like copy and paste ready. Just so it's like, oh, am I talking shit at like X group today? Time to start pasting the fucking like this argument and this label into my bio. Let it sit for a couple of days till things cool down. Switch off. I can do it. Make that work.
Although, like, it really would be like a testament to Twitter if it's just like Monoxus 718. I am an alcoholic whose drinking problem is destroying my life, and it's like 500,000 followers. Just like be upfront about it.
That'd be so good.
And it's just like,
I'm gonna get people messaging me like seeing if I need help. Fuck off. I don't need your bullshit. I'm ruining my own life.
I ain't afraid no sleep.
Here you go.
Go away. That would be the greatest account ever.
Unless you're offering me a whiskey sponsorship, you can fuck off.
Imagine like, and then like women start flocking to him in the replies, and he's just like, "You're not even in the same time zone, you hussy." And then they start DMing him, and he's just like, "There's nothing I can do about this. Slag off."
Fly off to Jersey and meet me. Noxus, where are you? I fucking lied.
That's why he's got 500,000 followers.
I'll meet you in oh, you're from Texas? I'll be down there in 2 weeks visiting family. Meet me at this location this time. Noxus, where are you? I'm not in fucking Texas.
The sad part is, it's like instead of getting like Me Too'd, every woman that has like stories with receipts of like getting involved with Monoxus is always like, there's never anyone like him. And all these women have these same reoccurring stories where it's like, listen, it's kind of like, how do I put this?
Game is still in the background.
They're even able to identify him by his Sasquatch walk. All right.
That's totally a fucking thing.
People get Me Too'd so Monoxus can walk in peace. All right, ladies and jerks. And then, like, for clout, they're gonna be like, "Oh, like I had a tryst with Monoxus," and the entire time he doesn't even like tweet about it at all once. Like,
yeah.
I'm an alcoholic whose drinking problem is destroying my life. 500,000 followers. Following like 103. Like, it's just, and sometimes it's just like he wakes up, he's in another country, and there's like a bed strewn with like models everywhere, and they're like, there's just like drugs and ashtrays and messes of like fucking clothes, and he just like, life is hard.
Oh my god, even better. Every time there's a good moment, be like, I hate it. It's miserable.
He goes to Six Flags, and it's like the greatest thing, and he's like, this doesn't help.
On the roller coaster, just sad.
And there's gonna be like me, cameraman, and everything like, yeah, like it's just like the nuts.
Oh my god, that's so good.
There's just gonna be like a legion of people just so happy to be on this ride, on this water slide, and he's just like sad face.
I hate everything.
Not even the arcades. Like we're gonna be like kicking that ass in arcades, and he's just
It's either me upset or me like you're at the arcade with Monoxus and you're taking like a selfie, but I'm like over in the back like throwing something at someone. It was like at the bar being like yelling to get a drink. It's like, where'd he go?
Throwing the basketball at something other than the basketball net.
Spilling my drink and catching it mid-picture.
That was the beauty of Barcade and just being able to play like fucking what was it? Centipede and fucking put your drink right over there.
Oh yeah,
just
because
play,
they have
and
the little stands on the
little
sides of the
metallic-
machines.
It
Yeah.
was primo, and you just put your
I'm
jacket
telling-
on
like,
top of the machine, and you just
It's one of the few things that hasn't come back yet during, because like we have, like my list as far as things I want to do when quarantine was over,
right.
like movie theaters, spas, museums, arcades.
I really want to
And
go
the
to
beach.
live shows. I miss so much. To the point
My tickets got pushed back to fucking September. I'm so pissed.
for the residents.
Yeah, which I'm probably now just gonna refund them and see if I can get tickets to the to the New York show, not the fucking Philly show. Hopefully, but I don't know because the fucking now the tickets are moved around and shit. It's a pain in the ass.
Wow.
I just want to see the residents.
I remember one time I was set to see Municipal Waste and Exodus, and then there was a blizzard. So it was like, hey, you could either get refunded or it'll come back. And they did come back. It was just like 2 years afterwards.
Jeez.
Like for that tour to happen again. Like, but the
Yeah.
tour did happen, and it was like, hey, if you kept, and it's like it was kind of a crazy show too.
Okay.
They more than made up for it. Municipal Waste is really awesome like that because it's not. The band doesn't take itself seriously.
Sure.
But it is like crossover thrash, and it's usually like upbeat, and it's really good.
Yeah.
As opposed to like Stormtroopers of Death, which is like occasionally downbeat but really fast, so you can't tell the difference. And it's like dumb inside jokes, the occasional socio-political shitpost. I don't know if you're interested in such things like a crossover thrash, but a side project of the people in Municipal Waste, which is like this is when we're taking ourselves seriously, and it's Iron Reagan.
Okay.
And that's just like mostly, if not all, political stuff, and it's really like, oh, I'm gonna be playing like multiplayer. Like, all right, we got to get the blood running. We're playing this in the background. It's really good.
Fair enough.
So no, in regards to mental health, before I forget, I think we've come to a point where it's like designer mental illness because it's like trivialized to the point it's beyond decorative. However, like God knows how much that like this like fucked up vocal, I don't want to call it majority, because what if there are people with like very real like ADHD, and like what if they're bipolar, if they have schizophrenia, if they're like narcoleptic, if they're like predisposed chemically to be depressed, if they're like be any number of things, and yet they're paraded about as if they're like status badges to be acquired, where I would argue this ends up the tail end of a process, because once they get into close quarters on like Discord, how many there see Discord is kind of like the Twilight Zone, or it's like an object in the Twilight Zone, and where like if you're grooming or about to get groomed, if you're like a bad person, if you're like if you have any inclination bias against another group of people or just humanity itself, kind of like in the Twilight Zone, like there are almost never any good endings.
Yeah.
1 out of like 14 Twilight Zones is like a good ending.
Sure.
And the good ending is where like, hey, a homie's on Discord. Because like really, like what is it about like kids?
You just mean like how shitty Discord communities are in general.
Well, what is it about Discord communities that foster things like getting curious, and then now like I'm non-binary, now I'm trans, and now you have like a young woman who's getting a double mastectomy and getting on testosterone, and then 3 years later going,
I don't think
this was a mistake.
I think it's the community.
But how come Discord is also not only with that, but every like.
Because Discord is the easiest place to have a voice chat functionality. It's open to fucking everyone, and anyone can make one, and you can make your own rules, and bots can regulate it. It's like where Skype is more about personal calls, and Zoom is more aimed toward business. Discord is like, fucking anybody! So, with all of my homies and I have a chat where we play games, and this is one where people that I know go and post memes. Every community can do that. And think about it. If you were a predator, or someone that wants to groom somebody, or someone who just wants to push an agenda that you know is
which
not
has
safe,
nothing to do with Super Predator, by the way.
like, you can go to these places where you know people have gathered, and then begin the process of doing what you gotta do. Otherwise, you'd have to meet them at like conventions.
At the mall.
Like you'd have to find them in public.
Right.
Or you can just go to a Discord. And if you go to the Discord, you're like, hey, what's up? I want to join Discord Y. And they're like, right, but show me your badges. And then you show them your badges, and you have all the like necessary badges to get in. They'll be like, welcome to the club. Even though like underneath all those badges, it was like the Predator badge. It's just like, haha. Y'all don't know that I'm here to fucking do horrible things.
Ay, ay, ay.
But also, you had mentioned this, because like before I forget, you mentioned how these people with mental health issues, they're the ones who are like, I have this, and then like maybe you do, but like why are you like, you know what I mean? And
broadcasting it and holding it up.
Yeah, but and it's not about like awareness; it's about you being like, I have thing. Something I've also noticed with those people, and maybe this is just because I've seen it, so like, I'm not saying this is a sweeping, this is everything. This happens with other communities too. People love to go M thing, and then the internet collectively, whether it's their Twitter following or people on the Discord or their friends and family on Instagram, whatever, people all of a sudden go, wait, your thing? I'm interested in you being thing now. And they go, please stop talking about thing that I said I was thing. I don't want to talk about thing anymore. You're invading my privacy. And it's like, you do not prop up thing and go, I am thing, or I had thing, or I was involved in thing. And then when people go, must know about thing, go, no. I just wanted the recognition for thing. I didn't want like attention and questions and have to explain myself.
Educate yourself.
Why is that what happens? Because because then there's the awareness. Like I was thing, I am thing, I have thing, and then people are like, "Can I ask questions about thing?" And they're like, "Please, I would like to inform you about the experience with around like all of that." But then there are people who are like, "Thing," and people are like, "Question about thing." No, I don't want to talk about it. But now everyone wants to know about it. Absolutely not. The more you say no, the more they want to know about it.
Well,
answer the questions or just don't put the fucking.
Well, because
also when they get harassed, like, how dare you harass me because of thing? Because you put it up on the bio. Now all the people who are out there to harass those kind of people, which there are, like, don't play dumb like they don't exist. If someone's out there like the Predator going to the Discord being like, I'm gonna groom them. There's also people out there who are like, I'm an asshole, and I'm gonna look people, you got the badge I don't like. I'm gonna get a whole community of other people who have hate for badge I don't like, and like,
spam you with gore.
And then meanwhile they're like, I shouldn't be subjected to this. You're not wrong. You shouldn't be. But because you put the label on, there are people who are going to. Don't get mad when people fucking like throw, like, metaphorically, I guess, throw rotten fruit at you because you put a label on and they don't like you with that label, and then go, you should respect my privacy and not throw fruit at me. But because for everyone that does, there's one that doesn't. So why does that happen? Why do they think they can just be like, nope, I don't want to talk anymore?
Well, because to a degree, the participation in this field can be as one way or as two way as you want it to be. Because
it's always two way.
Well, but here, okay, so
I guess it's one way if you block everybody.
But, okay, exactly. Because what Twitter is very perfect at utilizing is how it gives you two things, which is manifold and in the fore and the background.
Yeah.
Everything you see here is true, and out of sight, out of mind.
Okay. Yeah.
So, the latter is what allows. It's like, like, I am blank. Monoxus, because he cannot.
I am an alcoholic.
Because he cannot find a newsletter with which he could subscribe to, and Gigi's or he or they or this fucking talking cacti or this potato chip bag goes, I am blank, and then Monoxus goes like, I would like to know more, and then you have been blocked.
Or I go, you're blank, and they're like blocked.
and then even though like, presumably this is not happening when it's Monoxus at Monoxus on Twitter.com. I'm an alcoholic whose drinking problem is destroying my life. There is an alternate timeline where his tragic downfall, he ends up with like 10 million followers when like he's in the hospital with like cirrhosis, and he's like, hey guys, like
Dying in a hospital bed, like none of it was worth it.
And he's just chugging like wine out of a box. He's like, hey guys,
People outside, let us see him. Go fuck yourselves.
just like throwing his bedpan out the window. Like, he'll record himself refusing medical care.
God.
Like, sir, we need to put the side. Get away from me.
Son, if that's the YouTube original right there. That's the show.
Aye.
Oh, it'd be great.
So, but you see, because some people, like, if you, like, I'm an alcoholic who's drinking problems destroying my life. So, like, let's say, fucking Sam Harris and someone else was having a discussion, like the nature of free will.
Yeah.
A public philosophic debate happening on like Twitter, and it's like, yeah, as an alcoholic, you're both wrong. Just chime in, like.
I'm reading a lot of stupid comments in this thread.
Like,
As an alcoholic, I'm an expert in, radiology. You're all dumb.
Nasib, you're not as right as you think you are. Sam, you're always full of it. Like,
At everyone. You're all stupid. Yes, I'm an alcoholic. Please don't judge. How many people can you add in one comment on Twitter? Is there a limit?
As long as you have space.
Oh, it's based on the text.
Right.
So I have to make a bunch of like messages just adding people.
Just random, like just.
No, like a chain of like at and like at everybody in the thread, and then like piss off.
Well, I mean, presumably, if you're applying at the very bottom where all these people have chimed in, if it was like a chain of command, you can just reply at the end.
But my point is to poke all of them.
I believe that is possible.
It would just take a long time. Because you can make like chain comments, right? So in theory, every single person in that chat can get added.
Eventually, like Monoxus is going to be in like an intensive care, and he's just like, hey guys, and he's like waking up like after surgery, he's drinking vodka and orange juice, and then like he's telling the Pope to go fuck himself on Twitter.
Hey buddy, remember that time God said gay's not okay, and then you said, nah, never mind? Good job on that one.
At that point, like, Monoxus's number one reply guy will be Cameraman, and then Cameraman's gonna be like, remember that Pope that quit because it's a divinely appointed position?
And he was like, nah,
and then he quit.
I'm good.
And then he quit.
So
you see, that would have much more grace than people who are using, I suppose, mental illness, for lack of a better term, as a badge of identification, and I suppose the defense mechanism, a really useful rampart. It's a great Mott and Bailey thing too, because it's like, let's say Monoxus says all Republicans need to die in a bonfire because they're all evil, ugly, disgusting jerks.
In
Minecraft. So, if anyone begins to say anything, he's like, oh well, like I'm a bipolar schizoaffective. Like, what is your problem with the mental health community blocked?
Yeah, pretty much.
And it's just every 98% of all of the interactions on Twitter will be just like that. So out of sight, out of mind, and everything you see here is true.
That's fair. Yeah, I can make this work.
You see?
I just gotta figure out the new bio. Considering there's a character limit, which I hate, but I'll figure it out.
Monoxus. I'm an alcoholic who's drinking from this destroying 6 million followers. Just show up to like the president tweets, and you're just like, shut up.
Oh my god!
Like the president tweets, he's like, be better. It's really hard out here.
Fix this. Hey Obama, am I gonna get my my Biden bucks? Where's my Biden bucks? I want more of those.
He's just gonna show up to random politicians and former world leaders, he's gonna tweet at the World Bank or the IMF, and he's gonna be like, what's the holdup?
Yeah, maybe.
How come you guys are always out to lunch?
Terrible.
It's 11:39 in the morning. You avoiding me? Like, just keep tweeting at the IMF. You dodging me?
Respond. Again, respond. Respond until I get blocked.
I'm pretty sure, like, listen, I'm pretty sure you still owe me $20. Respond.
Please respond. Come on, respond. Talk back. Respond.
Where's my money? Are you threatening me?
Terrible.
So, there goes an ease of access for the internet and no dads. That is a crippling and reoccurring theme as to why there's a spike in everything. I have no other way to put it. But he's not wrong. Obnoxious Monoxis. Oh, Vivtex. Watch out. He's going to stop, he's going to stop fucking around and start spitting bars. Be careful. Someone's going to make him a beat.
Someone's going to steal my idea.
And then somebody's going to start, beatboxing and referencing Monoxis in, battle rap.
I doubt it. Highly doubt it.
So, Kool-Aid chimes in with, Discord also has some fucked up pedo admins. Hi blank, I'm dad. Oof. Listen, if memory serves me correctly, there was proof of furries doing really ugly furry things, and they brought it up to the mods of Discord. And they're like, excuse me, but some awful furry things were happening. And under normal circumstances, one would believe that something good would come from this. But some of the mods, at the very least, and how many I don't know, or how many more, but they were like, oh, because they were furries too. That went nowhere.
Well, that's that. Also M, you know?
Oh, excuse me, Kool-Aider. You either need to turn up the mic or speak louder, Haynes. No, you speak louder, Kool-Aider. No. TLDR. There was furry dirt and awful things happening, and then people on Discord reported it to Discord admins. And some, at the very least, are furries themselves, because they took it and they sat on it. And nothing happened.
Yeah.
That's why...
Again, labels. They protect their own, and that is everyone.
Although that is
everyone.
That is kind of strange, though, how we went from labels disabled to categorizing 160 characters.
Humanity is reverting back to tribalism, both in the way they protect each other, the way that they build communities and want them to be smaller, the way that they want to go back into segregating into things that they feel comfortable with, and the way that they speak with hieroglyphics. We are reverting back to primitive men because the technology has gotten too hard to use in a proper way.
Well, there is a really strange undertone of you can't hide all of the discontent on the internet.
No, you can just block it, ban it, shadow ban it, hide it behind a paywall.
However, what makes living in the present day and age, I mean, even if this wasn't mumbo jumbo times, we're still at the mercy of what comes across our
How is he still quiet?
Oh shit. Dare, for real? Am I still quiet?
There, how about now?
He's using audio boosting Chrome extension, and yeah, shit's still quiet. Okay, how is everyone sounding now? Alright, because we were this has been unbecoming against our will. We had not strategy planned the fucking audio going down, so please excuse us. That's a good bit better. Thank you.
Feel free to yell at us about audio all the time, because I can always work to fix it.
Bill the Cat 666. He chimed in the very first person about the audio.
Mm-hmm.
Lest we forget.
Worked out really well. And since then, the audio equipment has improved. So, it works.
So
levels are all the same.
So, the one last comment in regards to mental illness in terms of the really bizarre, strange weapon cover, multi-purpose Swiss Army knife utilization of it on social media, and by social media specifically, it's like Twitter. Although I imagine it still propagates itself outside of
Screw the levels, just scream it into my ears.
So, Dare just wants to see a power violence band live and just see the guy scream into a microphone.
You hear that, cameraman? When you edit it, use the gain thing to boost the audio.
Thank you, cameraman. This fucking guy. Who do you think he is? Fucking quarantine weight. Even though he was out and about doing silly Billy things.
I thought he was a fucking farmer.
Listen, if he wants to rock suspenders, that's on him. I don't know if he was fucking farming brains. I don't know why he had a scythe and a pitchfork and a sack of those. They were still all wet.
I'm
and
just saying. He
sloppy.
sent me pictures of him on a farm with tools, tending to like crops. That's what I thought he was doing every time he went out.
Just tending to his crops.
I don't know.
I mean, like for a while
He
had
bought like a straw hat.
For a while he had like a bathtub full of brains in the closet.
I don't want to know about that.
That's what he
I
borrowed.
didn't see a fucking bathtub full of brains in the closet.
He borrowed a book of mine, and I'm like, dude, I need that book back. And he was like, come pull through the closet. And I come in, and I saw things I didn't like. It was just like right next to the washing machine and the dryer.
But then you got a washing machine and dryer in the closet.
But he hangs things up, so he never uses the dryer.
I used the fucking laundromat across the street. There's been something there the whole time.
There's a lot where do you think the tub comes from? Listen, ladies and jerks, cameraman. Listen, if cameraman were a social creature, we'd be having like parties at the fucking Monoxus closet bunker. That would be great, but cameraman's not a social person.
No, not at all.
Sorry, ladies and jerks.
Yeah. Kind of piece of shit. He's going to the track though.
I hope cameraman finally has to learn that, like you had said, calories in, calories out.
Yeah.
What is this, perhaps he can benefit from exercise outside of this. Does he need food to stay alive? There are things we're still learning about cameramen, ladies and jerks. So, wish us the best of intelligence, because luck runs out when we need it the most.
Yeah,
really. So, cameraman, I mean, for a second I thought like, he might have been pregnant. And I was like, oh, I hope it has its eye. What is this?
You were just bullshitting with him when he came in here. You just acting like nothing was different.
Just walking around with like phone like wrapped around what looked like a professional drinking gut, but he doesn't seem like the kind of person who drinks.
Maybe not. Maybe he does.
I don't. He just even his arms. He just came waddling in. I mean, yeah, kinda. I didn't want to be mean. You said it, not me.
It's not funny, Ains.
I mean, I just, Monoxus has a good point, and, he had the nerve to call it quarantine weight. You see, here at twitch.tv/Monoxus, all right, he would like to remind you that quarantine weight is nonsense. It is poppycock. You see,
don't give him the heads up. We'll put it up on the channel.
All right.
That's coming later. We'll get there. I have to explain it to him, and I don't want to explain it to them, and then explain it to him at the same time. Again later. We'll do it all at once.
Unless you're gonna have like cameraman stuck in some sort of like explanationception.
I'm gonna strap him to a chair and make him listen if I have to.
And maybe that's the only way he could finally stop eating fucking pecan pie.
Maybe. Who knows?
All right, but
don't eat if you don't want fat. I don't have to explain.
See, well, but what is cameraman's excuse is what we don't know. All right,
quarantine weight. I bet he can just like modify it somehow, and he just did it because he heard quarantine weight, and he didn't understand that you don't have to get quarantine weight. It's not mandatory.
But how do we know? We don't know, to be quite honest.
Well, we're gonna find out. And he's gonna get his ass to the track with me, and he's gonna lose that weight.
Was he just eating like Italian combo heroes this whole time?
He could have been eating cats. I don't know.
Man.
I don't fucking know.
I hope
he was on a farm. Where's he getting vegetables, and how is he overeating there?
How is that even possible? Yeah, that
was
is
he
possible.
Even on a farm?
No.
Was I lied to?
We're very lucky that we're very lucky that cameraman is not a fat vegan or vegetarian. All right.
Yeah.
Because even if he is just eating cats, thank God he's not a vegan or a vegetarian.
Oh man, I'm gonna look up fat vegetarians and see how many I can come up with.
Gross, fat, bloated vegans. They exist.
Vegan's easier though, because vegan you can eat like cheese and bread and stuff like that,
and soy.
So you can get away with or there are versions of those things. You can eat fucking pizza, and you can get fat eating fucking pizza.
Oreo is vegan friendly.
Junk food is usually vegan friendly, so It's not hard to be fat and vegan. Vegetarian's a little more tricky.
The vegan who also drinks vodka and eats mad takis.
Yeah, well, there you go.
The vegan.
Is alcohol? I guess it depends on the alcohol, right? Does alcohol ever use like animal products to produce it?
I don't think so. So drinking is vegan friendly.
Probably it's probably yeah.
Even though, like, I believe, well, are there any animal product or byproduct? I don't think so.
I don't think so. I'd have to look into it.
No, but
Point is, it's possible.
So drinking is vegan friendly.
I think so.
Okay.
Be a damn shame though if it wasn't. Yeah.
Although bonus points for like vegans and vegetarians who wear leather, like, come the fuck on.
Come on, they don't do that.
Some of them do.
Yeah, but like they're not real vegans.
They're just like, okay. What always bothered me about people who become vegetarian or vegan for like really selfish reasons.
I want to cut it short soon.
All right. After this, we're logging off. All right, ladies and jerks.
Oh yeah, go for it.
So, I remember meeting someone off of OkCupid, and according to her, she became a vegan once she went to like the northern tip of Iceland and saw the aurora borealis and the melting of the ice caps, and she said something to the effect of like she had a moment and where blah 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 blah, and that's why she doesn't eat chorizo anymore. And I remember like I understand what those words mean, but like nothing registers when I run it through my head.
Okay, yeah.
Like, all right, environment. Later, I'm gonna tell her about China, and it doesn't register.
Yes.
Environment.
Yes.
So somehow
you could explain to her that squid are overpopulating the ocean and invading other fish's homes thanks to our overfishing. Right. So technically, a solution to the problem is to eat more squid and like leave the other fish alone.
Yeah.
So technically, the better option is to eat the squid.
Why don't we?
But like you said, it won't be processed.
Right. And so eventually, she felt like some activist types, I would argue, like they somehow giving up meat will save the environment.
Yeah.
And it is a very strange and bizarre selfish thing, like an artist who arbitrarily doesn't use yellow or something.
Sure.
It just, why are you crippling this? How is that going to fix China from taking like a strained and greasy dump and like not only into the ocean, but then like hurling it into the ozone layer? It doesn't make, but I digress. All right. Just know that orthorexia nervosa is some serious shit.
Oh no, we're not doing that again.
All right.
Nope, we're not doing that again. No orthorexia nervosa speech. We've had it too many times.
All right.
Maybe when we make a video about vegans and vegetarians in the future, then you can just do the whole spiel and put it to bed and never have to bring it up again. You can always just source the video. Like, just go to the video. Actually, why haven't we done that yet?
That's a very good point. We're going to have to clip that. Mm-hmm. Although it's longer than 30 seconds.
No, I think we need to put this all on camera and put a video and put this to bed.
The orthorexia nervosa.
Vegans, vegetarianism, orthorexia nervosa, moral eating in general.
Okay.
All of it. All of it.
We must.
While eating steaks.
Deal. Deal. All right? Deal.
Stop it, Kool-Aider. Don't get him started.
So Kool-Aider is all... I'm interested in what Haynes has to say on the matter. Oh, about like orthorexia nervosa? Is that what
you even have the book on you?
Yes. So John Woo is all, Mono is hilarious. You're goddamn right he is.
All right, Haynes. Say the thing.
All right.
Say the thing, and then I'm turning this off. Because I'm tired, alright? That's why I'm cutting it short today. I'm tired. I had sleep last night or the night before. And I still worked out, alright? And I still showed up. I still filmed things.
Like a champion.
Say the thing.
Alright. Hi. I'm Stained Haynes, he's Monoxus, and if you're watching here live at twitch.tv/Monoxus, we're going to be closing out with a discussion on orthorexia nervosa.
Go to freaking bed.
All right.
I'm going to read a little, then I'm going to go to bed.
All right. So, after this, we're logging off. So you heard it here first. Orthorexia nervosa.
This is for you, Kool-Aider, because you asked for it.
That's right, Kool-Aider. Orthorexia nervosa is a fixation on righteous eating. First diagnosed by Colorado physician Dr. Stephen Bratman in 1997. The term is derived from the Greek word ortho, meaning straight and correct, and refers to a psychological syndrome where one's food choices grow progressively narrower over the time under the auspices of health. When vegetarians learn there's an even more restrictive diet plan available, the way of the vegan, dairy products such as milk and cheese, subclasses of poultry products such as egg and refined bread, ingredients involving yeast or white flour, are summarily stricken from their diets as well. Nothing is allowed inside the body of a devout vegan, in which might be psychologically interpreted as a toxin to both the subject and the understanding of the environment. Their daily struggle to keep the poisons out and remain uncontaminated by the wrong food results in a total reliance on what other vegans are doing to keep themselves alive, since they're the only ones who can ever be trusted. Like an oil painter who arbitrarily use yellow, a vegan diet is an attempt to gain control over at least one simple aspect of a person's otherwise ordinary life. A less is more aesthetic taken to its most conceited extremes. Extremes like vegan dog food, completely free of meat, or animal derivatives, composed only of organic vegetarian ingredients like soy, peas, carrots, and sunflower oil. Is there nothing a dog loves more than the wild, healthy grains of a rolled oatcake? And woe to the meat eater who has to be dating a vegan even for a single evening.
You know what, more recently, seed oils are being blamed for a lot of the obesity problems.
Really?
Continue.
Dr. Bratman's treatise on orthorexia contains that an excessive vegan lifestyle is socially restricting, eventually coming to rule a person's life to the point where all thoughts and activities revolve around what is and what isn't allowed. Where people with anorexia and bulimia focus on quantities, people with orthorexia focus obsessively on the psychological qualities, the purities of their food. The decision to become vegan has perilous side effects, not the least of which is a near constant struggle to prepare meals which fool the body into thinking it's getting what it really wants. Of course, those who can afford to live with this disorder is proof that ethical consumption in a capitalist society is a privilege for a few, daunting for most. These water-based meat bags force themselves to go through a great deal of labor and preparation to make their food taste more like meat, with weird-ass spices from around the world sprinkle atop exotic and mandatory sauces, curries, fungus, boca burgers, textured vegetable paste, tofurkey, and other processed blends of soy and gluten. Google any vegetarian recipes lately? There's a lot of disgusting shit out there, and if you thought fat people were ugly, take a Google-eyed gander at the vitamin-deficient vegans. The universal hallmarks of a long-term vegan diet, absent in proteins, are pallid gray skin, stringy, straw-like hair, knobbled witchy finger knuckles, cracked lips, diminished muscle mass, protruding bones, yellow teeth, and a smug sense of self-satisfaction, and enough Laguna peach fuzz to carpet the moon. We as a species evolved with canine teeth, no matter where we come from on this planet, and all the plant-eating hominids died off because their diet is contrary to nature. In spite of this, in January 2006, a Miami jury convicted Lemoy and Joseph Anderhosen for felony child neglect for enforcing a strict diet of raw fruits, vegetables, and wheatgrass on their kids. A baby died, and the baby weighed less than 7 pounds when she died of malnourishment, too weak to lift her head or sit without help. In the last 3 days of her life, she could only roll the back of her eyes. The autopsy reported that at the time of her death, the child had a, quote, a grassy odor, end quote, and a bloated, distended abdomen. Other children in the Anderson family never saw a doctor, but received wheat enemas and grass enemas in lieu of traditional Western medicine, and testified that they were taught that cooked foods are, quote, evil, end quote. Shortly after, the children were removed from their home by authorities, and they discovered a new love for tacos. The mother and father, meanwhile, remain in prison. So, The next time someone tells you they don't eat meat, there might be a solid reason for it. It could be religious, or maybe a means to fight heart disease without medication, loaded with caveats and side effects. Hell, they might even be allergic to it. Does that even happen?
Probably. Like, you can probably be allergic to the proteins.
I could.
You can have like a gluten issue. You can have a protein issue with most anything.
So, like, if you're allergic to like cow, can you eat goat?
I don't know if it would be specifically cow. It would probably be a protein that's in them. And I'm not sure how that transfers. I actually don't know exactly the structure of animal proteins.
Okay.
I just know the use of protein in the human body and how
Alright.
it breaks down into like amino acids.
Gotcha. All right.
But I'm sure it's possible. Probably rare though.
Kool-Aider goes in. You can become allergic to red meat after tick bites. Ooh.
Okay, see?
Excuse me, Kool-Aider.
Weird after tick bites? Okay, I gotta look into that.
So, if they bring up the environment, don't pity them. A wise man once said, if you don't like the smell of burning meat, then get the fuck off the planet. Righteous eating and the need to proselytize that shit is just one of countless surrogate activities people can undertake with their time, money, lives, and souls to avoid dealing with real problems in the here and now. You know who else was a vegetarian? Hitler.
We gotta record that. And then we gotta sit down and talk about it and make a video out of it.
All right. You heard it here first, ladies and jerks. Gracias por tu presencia aquí hoy noche. Estamos vivos, pero estamos saliendo del internet. We're out.
Good night, everybody. Also, like all weekend, I'll be doing stuff. So if you guys are bored, keep checking in. He won't be here Saturday.
But no, I will not be here on Saturday, so you got to find him and bother him on Discord.
I'm going to keep continuing the battering ram of Resident Evil games, whether or not this guy's here, so he's just going to have to deal with it.
Ladies and jerks.
Maybe I'll get Charles to jump in and play 6.
That would be crazy.
Yeah. Take it easy, everybody.
Good night, ladies and jerks.